Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, TV, and streaming, and it's game day!
Aww.
Boba Fett! Episode 3. I'm a little more excited now after watching Boba Fett Episode 2. I wasn't a big fan of Boba Fett Episode 1, but I got on board after Episode 2. So it's game day today. Going to watch Boba Fett Episode 3 tonight. Also watching Boba Fett Episode 3 sometime, I guess. This is Kimberly Ann Curran. Kimberly, how you doing?
Good morning. I am doing splendid.
Splendid, she says. Right beside her is Chef Splendid. He's one of the only... Ray Hora, Ray,
I didn't mean to all your game day. I thought you were talking about the actual game we're playing today.
Oh, but it is game day.
Yeah, that's why I went, but not to Boba Fett.
Yeah, there is actually a game going on today, and also participating in that game is this guy over here, Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today?
John, I always get stressed now that we have to play this over-under game. I feel there's pressure to perform. I feel I don't know, what is the gaming equivalent of erectile dysfunction?
Kind of like on Valentine's night, that pressure to perform.
Oh,
which is why you need Manscaped, but we'll talk about
We got a new sponsor coming up soon.
I'm always
anyway, good to have you guys here today. Here's how today's show's going to go, guys. We break it down into 2 parts. In the first half of the show, we talk about some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we take your live comments and questions. Now, there's 2 ways to get in a live comment or question. Number 1, if you're watching live, and only if you're watching this show live as we're streaming, you guys can use the super chat feature over there in the YouTube chat. Fire that in and we'll read that off when we get to the end of the main topics. If you're watching this show any other time of the day, in the other 22 hours in the day, simply go down into the description of this video and you'll see a tip link. Click on that there, or enter it in manually at www.streamelements.com/movieblogtv/tip. You'll be getting your comment or question read on the show or an upcoming companion video like the one Rob did last night. Thank you for that, Rob.
Thank you.
If, of course, we deem your questions appropriate to be used on our show. And, of course, you'll be supporting our channel at the same time. And all of us involved with the John Campea Show, thank you guys so much for your support. Also, guys, want to remind you that to take a second, we don't often tell you this. I always forget to do it. I never do it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. Click the thumbs up button. See, I'm being a good YouTuber today. I always forget to do that. And yada, 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 all that kind of stuff. Okay, let's get into an off the top here to start, shall we? And this is what we're going to start with off the top, and that is this. You know, one of the more surprising movies that is coming out, and I say surprising because I didn't know if it was ever going to see the light of day, is Death on the Nile. And we've talked about this quite a bit, right? Death on the Nile, the new film by the great Kenneth Branagh. It's a follow-up to Murder on the Orient Express, a movie I was really excited about, quite frankly, a little underwhelmed by it, to be honest with you, even though I'm a huge Kenneth Branagh fan. Still very excited about Death on the Nile. Huge cast, but there's a twist. One of those cast members is Armie Hammer. And Armie Hammer, we won't go into it all again here, got himself into a little bit of trouble, which made Disney go, what the hell do we do with this movie? To the point where I was even starting to doubt it was ever going to see the light of day. Like, I thought maybe in 2 years or so, they'll drop it on Hulu or something, but they're coming out with it in a few weeks. They're coming out with it in February. Ramping up their marketing, they have just put out a new look, including a whole bunch of new character posters. For the thing. First of all, of course, there is the great Kenneth Branagh, who's also starring in this. I never know how to say the name. Hercule Poirot. I never say it right. That's fine. And you'd think with speaking as much French as I need to, I could get that somehow. But there are a bunch of character posters, right? We got one here of Tom Bateman, or at least, yes, it's the associate. We've got one of the cousin. We got a few other characters there. There's a number of character posters come out. One I did not come across was, I didn't come across a poster of Armie Hammer.
No.
Hammer time.
Quel surprise. Hammer time.
Oh, God.
Quel surprise.
That was kind of his problem, Ray.
Oh no. Oh, no. Anyway, Ray is wisely just letting that one go. But, so here we go. We've got this thing where they're coming out with new character posters, but the one they don't have, of course, is one of Armie Hammer, which and who knows, maybe they did drop one of Armie Hammer somewhere else that I just didn't see.
In
not
the trash.
in the trash, maybe they dropped it in there. Now, look, let me address something here first regarding the whole Armie Hammer thing. And again, want to be very, very clear. Like, none of us know what Armie Hammer did or did not do.
Right.
None of us were there. None of us know, right? What we do know is that some very weird things he was texting to people got out. And several people have come forward accusing him of some pretty serious stuff. And there's a police investigation going on right now. Now, that being said, you know, the fact that several projects have dropped him has elicited a bunch of people writing to me and saying, well, whatever happened to innocent until proven guilty? Well, yes, that is how our society works and should work in a court of law. But this is business. And the reality is, if you are the manufacturer of cooking pans, if you're a manufacturer of cooking pans, and for whatever reason, right or wrong, you find out that an element you use in your cooking pans is something that's going to stop a lot of people from wanting to buy your cooking pans, guess what you're going to do? You're going to take that element out of your cooking pan because this is business. You're trying to sell pans. And if Armie Hammer right now is a distraction and a detriment to your film, I understand some films deciding we need to move on from Armie Hammer because that's going to become a distraction for our film. It's not about innocent until proven guilty. This isn't a court of law. This is somebody's business. And here's the thing. You know what Hollywood audiences love? They love a comeback story. And I guarantee you, if Armie Hammer comes out on the other side of this and he's fully vindicated and acquitted and all that kind of stuff, I guarantee you're going to see an Armie Hammer resurgence like no other, and certainly well-deserved and well he should. But for now, there's a big question mark looming over it. And so that's right. So I just wanted to address that part of it for a second. I am still surprised they're putting this movie out. So I am not terribly surprised that there isn't a character poster. And again, just because they're not giving them out to some websites doesn't mean there's not character posters of Armie Hammer out there in this new batch that have come out. I'm just saying, I think they've taken the right approach. They have shown a glimpse or two of Armie Hammer in the trailer, because if you didn't put Armie Hammer in the trailer, that's all anybody's going to talk about. Oh, I left Armie Hammer out of the trailer. But they did put a couple of glimpses of him up. But you don't focus on him too much, because if you do, then you get to say, why you got Armie Hammer in there? So it seems like they're approaching this the right way. As far as the movie itself goes, I got to tell you, despite my letdown and slight disappointment of Murder on the Orient Express, I have always thought this looks like a really good movie.
Yes.
And so I have no reason to change my mind about that. I am curious to looking at it. I hope it kind of picks things up. Rob, number one, where's your... We're getting closer now to Death on the Nile actually coming out. We're going to actually see it pretty soon. Where's your anticipation level at right now? Are you surprised, impressed, discouraged by how much and how little Armie Hammer's figuring into the marketing here? How are you looking at it?
Well, I think the whole situation's unfortunate all the way around, to be honest. And I was looking forward to this movie. I still am looking forward to this movie. But what I find really interesting is, from a business standpoint, you know, everyone has contracts. And in Hollywood contracts, there's things called force majeure, which is act of God. But you know, a studio sometimes doesn't have the option of not releasing a film because of look at all the other talent that's involved in this movie. And in your contracts, now I'm sure they're being rewritten to specify this, but they can't say that this person might have done something wrong, and if there's any instance of impropriety at all, we're going to not release the film, because then no one else would sign on to movies like this. So I think that's very interesting. And like in All the Money in the World, the Ridley Scott movie about the J. Paul Getty kidnapping, they completely removed Kevin Spacey and reshot every scene with Christopher Plummer. In this movie, John, as you pointed out once earlier, this is a huge ensemble movie. And to remove, I mean, it takes place at a wedding. And to remove, I think Armie Hammer's the
main male guy.
He's the husband, the guy getting married. So it's an impossibility. I mean, they probably could have used CG and put another actor, but that would have been hugely cost prohibitive and probably couldn't have actually been done. So they didn't have the option of replacing him. And I understand what a rock and a hard place for a studio to be in. And Disney acquired this movie from Fox, did they not?
Well, they acquired Fox.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, it's an inherited film.
It's an inherited
This is an
film.
inherited problem they have.
Yeah, so they inherited this problem, and they've got contracts that they have to honor. Otherwise, they get sued for breach or money. So, I mean, it's an unfortunate situation to be in. I have to say, I still want to see this movie because I really love Kenneth Branagh since his first film when he directed Henry V, his adaptation of Shakespeare, and he played Henry V. We happy few, we band of brothers. So anyway, I hope it's a good movie, and I hope everything works out.
Yeah, and I wonder, I hope for, it's going to be, I know it's going to be difficult for some audiences to go in there and watch it, and whenever Armie's on screen, it's going to be, I'm sure there's going to be some people that are not even through any choice, are going to be like, this is the guy who's accused of doing la, and it's too bad that they couldn't have held on to this movie until after that all got cleared up.
Yeah.
But I mean, then, or it could have gotten worse, and they're like, whatever. Kim, you're looking at this situation here. They're obviously being very strategic about how they are and are not marketing it, but they are now putting out their last push of marketing. Where are you at right now with your anticipation for this movie in general? Do you think it's going to be a distraction for some people with Armie Hammer being there? Do you see another way Disney could have handled this situation? What are you thinking right now?
I feel for them because this is a really tough spot. I mean, think of it. If you had something coming out in a few days, or you had something where it was the first day and these allegations came out, would you pull it? Can you pull it? There's a lot of business things that are already in the works. And you have to remember, for one person's, again, okay, innocent until proven guilty, right? Although that is in terms of, do you just put someone in jail or do they have a trial? When you're talking about, like you said, this is business, this is entertainment, you're in the court of public opinion here. The allegations can be triggering for some.
Yeah.
I know some that I don't care how good the movie looks, it's triggering, so they can't sit through it.
Yep.
They can't look at this guy, just having read the articles and knowing. That's very real. That is very real. But I think you salvage it by doing your best. Honestly, this makes me think, coronavirus aside, if there was a red carpet, would they ask him to please?
Oh, there's no way they'd let him go to it.
No.
There's no way. We're all in agreement on that, right?
And enjoy the festivities in your kitchen.
Yeah.
Make
Enjoy it on
yourself
the
a
stream.
charcuterie board and celebrate at home.
Charcuterie.
Charcuterie.
That's what Amy and I call it. Charcuterie.
Yeah. If that were the case, he wouldn't be walking the red carpet. You have to salvage this the best you can because they're aware that he's triggering. They're aware that this isn't just, oh, people don't like him and there's rumors. When there's an investigation, it's a little bit more than rumors. When
becomes a little more tricky.
When the cops knock on someone's door, it goes beyond, girl, did you hear this? And I heard this, and I don't know, he a freak. I don't know. It goes a little bit beyond that. We got a legal case here. So they're doing the best they can. And if there is a red carpet, don't expect him to be there. But let me tell you something. I don't want to walk past in the movie theater across some really cool theatrical posters and see his face. And I think that's unfortunate. I feel for him. We'll see how the court case works out.
Right.
But there's not a lot of women or men that have experienced something like that want to come out of a fun theatrical experience and see his face.
Yeah.
Like
while there's still this fog of war
issue
hanging over everything.
Like you said, everyone loves a redemption story.
Yeah.
So let's see how it plays out. But for now, no,
yeah,
I don't want to see you on a poster, and you can't come to the red carpet.
Yeah. Again, it's just it's business. And the business is, this
optics.
is bad for business right now.
Optics.
It's optics, and optics are, in the entertainment business especially, bad for business. Anyway, question is for you guys. Where are your thoughts right now on Murder on the Orient Express? No, that was the other one. On Death of the Nile. On this one, Death of the Nile. Are you excited about the film? I'm not going to lie. I am still very interested in seeing the film. I don't know how I'm going to react seeing whatever, but whatever. How are you guys feeling about it? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to our main topics here today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics here on the John Campea Show? Well, it's really simple. You see, you guys come up with our main topics. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Kim, what is our first main topic today?
All right, guys, our first main topic comes from Party Time Gandalf. Hey, all. So I've just read a report saying that The Raid is being rebooted with Gareth Evans still on board, but here's the big twist. He's bringing Michael Bay to come and play. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this news. A new take on The Raid, interesting. Michael Bay being involved has immediately made me not so sure. What are your thoughts on this news?
All right, thanks a lot for saying this in. Now, listen, for 10 years, there has been discussions, whispers, things going on about a revisiting of The Raid. There was supposed to be a North American version of The Raid that I think Evans was himself going to direct at one point, and then there was going to be another Raid done in the original language, and a lot of things have been going on with it the last couple of years. And it now looks like it's going to be set on... It's going to be a Netflix thing. It's going to be a retelling of it. It's a North American version of it. This comes to us from the folks over at The Hollywood Reporter who write the following. The action movie arena has finally seen director Gareth Evans get behind a reimagining of his 2011 film, The Raid. Patrick Hughes will direct a new take on the cult classic for Netflix with Michael Bay and XYZ Films producing. We're going to talk about XYZ in a second. Hughes, whose film credits include The Hitman's Bodyguard, The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, and The Man from Toronto, which we have yet to see, will pen the latest version of The Raid with James Beaufort. Evans and Range Media Partners will executive produce. The first question that comes to my mind is, why isn't Gareth Evans directing this? I mean, there've been talk for a long time. I can't believe that he's not interested in it. I got to believe he's interested in it. Is it that... I mean, and now look, I'll say this about... And I own The Raid and The Raid 2, or as they are also called, Rob?
The Rad and The Rad 2, even radder.
The proper name for these films, as Rob has pointed out. I own both of them. I like these films. Let's be honest. The strength of these films layeth not in their Shakespearean narrative. And okay, it is this simply maybe the most bonkers action films ever. I'm not saying that definitively, but they're in the discussion. And so I don't know if this is a North American producer saying, well, we'll only put the money behind it, but you need a different director. Because this guy, I don't know. Why is Gareth Evans not directing this? Now, I understand that for some people, the name Michael Bay being attached to this can maybe be a little bit off-putting. I will say this. He's not directing. I think Michael Bay's done a pretty decent job with his producing. I really do. He's produced some films I actually really, really like. Hell, he's directed some films that I really, really like.
Yeah.
On top of that, I'm actually a little bit of a Michael Bay defender. I will not defend Transformers 2 onwards, but I
Come
will.
on, man. Dark of the Moon's rad.
I hate Dark of the Moon. I hate that
Battle
one
of
too.
Chicago, it starts on the moon.
I mean,
What's
the
not to
Battle of
love?
Chicago looks good, but it's just a visual mess.
They destroy Chicago. The last 45 minutes of that movie is
Lot of
sheer
destruction.
cinematic orgasm.
I mean, if you had co-directed that with Emmerich, we would have had something.
Are you being serious?
I am being serious.
He's
Don't call me Shirley.
No, he loves that. He loves that
wow.
movie, man. He loves that
serious.
movie. But I mean, so there you go. I'm a little iffy on Patrick Hughes directing. I like The Hitman's Wife Bodyguard. I didn't love it, but I like The Hitman's Wife Bodyguard. Or sorry, the Hitman's Bodyguard. Then there's The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, which I'm not a big fan of. We'll see what happens with The Man from Toronto. That sounds interesting. Although Jason Statham, I think, was lined up to star in that, and then he backed out, and I can't remember who replaced him. But at any rate, so I don't really know about him directing, but we'll see. It could work out fine. A little bit of history for you guys. XYZ Films, who is the company behind The Raid 2, and they're producing this new one as well. Actually, one of their main guys is a guy who went to Bible college with me. His name's Todd Brown. He also used to write with me on my old website, The Movie Blog, many years ago. And then he spun off and created like the world's best foreign Asian film website. It truly was.
It truly was.
It truly was. It was called twitchfilm.net. and then they changed the name of it to Screen Anarchy. I think they changed because Twitch became a big thing. So they were constantly getting twitchfilm.net confused with Twitch, so they switched it to that. Then he went on to become like the programmer for, what was the name of the film festival again?
Fantastic
Fest. And then he's like a guy at XYZ Films. So it's really super exciting to see Todd doing this kind of stuff. So I'm a little bit biased for this as well. I'm not going to lie. This is not how I wanted to see a Raid remake. I did not want to see a Raid remake. I want to see that on the big screen. I never got to see the Raid or the Raid 2 on the big screen. I always had to settle with the watching on a freaking TV. I've always wished I could see it on a big screen. And I was excited to find out years ago that they're going to try to do a North American remake. I want to see that on the big screen. I want to see that directed by Gareth Evans. That's what I wanted to see. So I'm of mixed feelings here. I mean, he's connected to it. That's great. He's going to be a producer of it. That's nice. But Rob, you and I know being a producer on a film could mean he just has a couple of phone calls and really isn't creatively involved. I mean, I don't know. So I'm a little bit torn with this. Rob, you are a big fan of The Rad.
The Rad. Oh,
what do you think about this new? All things considered, Evans is involved, but he's not direct. I mean, I don't know how you feeling about this.
Okay, this new Raid is set in Philadelphia, apparently, and it's about a drug-infested area of Philadelphia, and the cops go in. Here's the thing. The thing about the Raid is it's a martial arts movie. I mean, it's all about hand-to-hand combat, and it's insane. And the characters, this Indonesian SWAT team, which, by the way, Muslim main character is Muslim, which I always liked about this movie, leads this troop of cops into a tenement building that's completely infested with drug dealers. And the whole thing is about martial arts. Now, count me crazy, but American cops are not known for their hand-to-hand combatant skills with the drug dealers that are also great martial artists. Now maybe
what?
You know,
they ain't so.
I mean, maybe it's like a heightened version. I mean, I think it's really interesting. I've often said that I love Asian science fiction, I love Asian fantasy, I love Asian action films, but there is a sense of whimsy even in a movie like The Raid, where everybody's a martial artist. Like, no one just walks in there with massive artillery and kills everybody. They have to fight hand to hand. I just don't think that's American police tactics. So unless, and that's one of the appeals of this movie, which I think is great. Now, on the other hand, I think back to movies like Judge Dredd and perhaps the first.
Very similar themes there.
First and best of tenement owns by drug dealers, the great New Jack City, directed by Mario Van Peebles. I love that movie.
Nino Brown,
one of the great villains of all time, maybe rivaling Tony Montana. What a team up that would have been. So I don't know. I want it to be good. The talent's there, John, but will it be as rad as The Rad is? Will it be as rad as The Rad 2, even radder? I don't know, because my rad level is very specific.
there's a certain amount of rad,
and I'm not
which
talking
must
about
be involved.
Radiation.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I hope it's good, but the fact that it's going to be a Netflix original does not give me a lot of hope. And
I want to say that Gareth Evans he has a TV series on in the UK called Gangs of London.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So hope springs eternal.
I enjoyed Gangs of London. I mean, I've not caught up all the way, but I've enjoyed it up to a point.
Yeah, it's fun. It's good.
We'll see. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? We're getting a North American version of The Raid, and Gareth Evans is involved. Yay! He's not directing it, and it's going straight to Netflix. Oh, I mean, I don't know. I'm honestly torn. I don't know how I feel about it. How do you guys feel about it? Whatever it is you're feeling, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. Before we go into our next main topic today, you know what I love to do, Rob? Love to eat. Eating's great.
It's
good. Great when you can eat healthy and you can make it yourself. So let's take a second and listen to one of the sponsors of today's show, our friends over at HelloFresh. We want to take a second and thank a sponsor of this video, HelloFresh. Now, listen, guys, if you are anything like me or Ann, Ann and I are both working professionals. We don't have a lot of time. And what that often meant was, when it would come to dinner time, we would either settle with making subpar meals or ordering fast food way too much. I like fast food once in a while, but we were eating fast food way too much. That's why something like HelloFresh was an absolute godsend for us. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Listen, With HelloFresh, you'll be cooking and eating great looking and great tasting meals without the hassle of going to the grocery store and trying to remember everything you need to get on the recipe list, and you'll be paying less. And look, I get it. You are probably saying to yourself or saying to me through the screen, John, you don't get it. I don't know how to cook. I'm telling you, with HelloFresh, you can. Because the packages don't just come with all the ingredients properly portioned out already for you, but they also include clear, easy to follow instructions with images that you'll have no problems following. In 30 minutes or less, you'll be eating great and feeling pretty damn good about yourself looking at the meal that you prepared. So right now, guys, go on over to HelloFresh.com/Campea16 and use the code Campea16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. That's 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. So HelloFresh, everybody, America's #1 meal kit. And don't forget, guys, that is code Campea16 when you go and get your first order of HelloFresh. And remember, guys, that also supports our channel. So thank you for that. All right. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 2, shall we? Kim, what is our second main topic today?
All right, our second main topic is coming from Diego R. Hi, John. I read a story that James Gunn just confirmed that he's developing a new secret TV series for DC. So I have 2 questions. 1, do you think this new series is another Suicide Squad connected one like Peacemaker or something else? And 2, considering his involvement with both DC and Marvel, with another Guardians of the Galaxy movie coming, where do you think Gunn fits best, DC or Marvel? Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in. Look, it's no secret around here. I am a big James Gunn fan. I love this guy. Like, yes, his Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that, but like I fell in love with him as a director with Slither. Slither to me is still, like, when you're talking about the great horror comedies, like that and Shaun of the Dead, like that's it. That's the apex for me is those 2 examples. Slither is so great. And I know a lot of you guys have still not seen Slither. Watch Slither. It is so fantastic, both as a great little horror movie and as a wildly funny comedy. I have to say, Nathan Fillion, Elizabeth Banks, Michael Rooker, like, it's just a terrific cast. Brilliantly done. I love Slither. I've always wished they would actually kind of do a sequel to that one. So, but he's also became a guy when he broke into big comic book movies. I remember that was surprising for a lot of people because he had never done anything on that level. And I even remember I had Kevin Feige on my show once, and I said to Kevin, I asked him, some of you have heard me say this before, but I asked Kevin, you know, James here, who was also sitting right beside me, I'm like, James here has never done anything nearly this big. Like, what made you confident in feeling James Gunn could be the guy to direct Guardians of the Galaxy? And I remember Kevin Feige looked at me and just said, a good storyteller is a good storyteller. It doesn't matter how much money you give them. It's if they know how to tell a good story, they know how to tell a good story. And that's always stuck with me. And James Gunn knows how to tell a fun, entertaining, engaging story. But it really is the tale of 2 James Gunns when you look at his work in Marvel and his work in DC. DC work, by the way, which looks to be expanding. This comes to us from the folks over at Coming Sooner, right? When Gunn was asked if he was involved with another project for DC, he attempted to reveal as little as possible, saying, you know, we're stepping forward. It keeps happening. We'll see what's happening, and I'll know what's happening very shortly. I dealt with it last night and this morning. After being asked directly if the secret project was for television or a possible film, Gunn replied, it's TV. There you go. Could the secret project be another spin-off from the Suicide Squad exploring more of the film's characters, or an entirely new endeavor for DC? All right, let me take that first part of that question, which is, do I think this new secret television project he may be developing here for DC, do I think it's another Suicide Squad related thing or something else entirely? I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably something else entirely. I remember Peacemaker was already in development when they decided, when Suicide Squad came out. I don't think they anticipated how badly Suicide Squad would flop, despite the fact that the movie's awesome. I love this movie. It's great. It deserved so much better reception than getting day and date released on HBO and whatever else. But I thought James Gunn's Suicide Squad was awesome, but it did not do well financially. Let's not sugarcoat it. Did not do well at all. So I don't know that the execs over Warner Brothers are anxious to move forward with yet another Suicide Squad spinoff. Let's see how Peacemaker does. So my guess is it's going to be something completely different, but probably every bit as out of left field and bonkers as his character selection for who he put into Suicide Squad. So I think it's going to be something different from Suicide Squad, but every bit as, what's the word I'm looking for? Unpopular, unknown, kind of fly under the radar character that you wouldn't expect, and he'll do something crazy with it. So that's my guess. Or it could be Superman. I mean, I don't know. I mean, for no James Gunn, it could be anything. As far as who does James Gunn fit best with, DC or Marvel? Because I think each of those cinematic universes has allowed Gunn to show the two different sides of his coin. When you look at Marvel, the whimsical humor that he has this playful, whimsical humor that just played so well into Guardians of the Galaxy and all the characters that he had to play with there, with, quite honestly, the perfect cast to interact and work with him, which is one of the reasons why when he was initially taken out of Warner Bros., all the cast got together and say, no, you got to bring him back. So the cast loved him. When you go over to DC, you still got that whimsical humor, yes, but you get the side of James Gunn's coin of the raunchy James Gunn, the irreverent James Gunn, the James Gunn who is willing to do and say anything on screen. And to me, the effect we got of that in Suicide Squad, and what I think we're probably going to get in Peacemaker, really stands out as well. And I don't mean to sit on the fence here, but I honestly don't know which one of those two Gunns I prefer. I love the pure whimsical humor fantasy that he brings to the Marvel side of things. I love the irreverent, visceral stuff that he brings to the DC side of things. I really love them both. Quite frankly, I hope to see him do both for many years. If I had to choose today, I would like to see him continue in DC. If there was a gun to my head and I had to say he has to do one and can't do the other, today I'll say DC, but I might change my mind and say something different a little bit later. Rob, 2 questions for you. The first question being, do you think this new secret TV project he's working on is another Suicide Squad orbit sort of show like Peacemaker, or do you think it's something else completely? And the second thing is, which James Gunn, where do you think James Gunn fits best? Does he seem to fit better in the Marvel universe? Does he seem to fit better in DC universe? How do you see this?
Well, first of all, I think you're right. I don't think it's another Suicide Squad related project. It might be a DC project. I think DC
I think it's definitely DC.
They have a lot of really wacky characters. I mean, there's a larger pantheon of wacky characters. Not to say Marvel doesn't have their wacky characters. I mean, but DC has got a lot of really wacky characters. Characters like Bouncing Boy. I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff in the DC universe. That said, if you really want to think about it, John, Slither is Guardians of the Galaxy and Super is more Suicide Squad.
It kind of is. That's a really good comparison.
And both of those movies were made for around $3 million each. And I mean, Slither is more Guardians because of the creatures and the craziness, whereas Super is much more character study, hard hitting. So he proves he's done both really, really well. So like you, I don't think that you need to say where he should be. Where do you prefer him? I think that both are playing to his various strengths, and we're richer for it as audience members. And I think, you know what? As a filmmaker, I think he's being very shrewd. He's leaving his options open. I mean, it was DC and Warner Brothers that stepped up when he had a little bit of a problem over there with some PR, and Marvel basically cast him out. And so I'm glad to see him go back and do Guardians 3, but I think that from a creative standpoint, it's great that he's giving us both.
And I think it is awesome that we're getting both. And it's kind of like also the marrying of two rival families. You marry the mob, like James Gunn in the midst of the big zombie Marvel fanboys and zombie DC fanboys. James Gunn became the bridge. See, we got a common thing here. I don't know. Anyway, Kim, you I've looked at this stuff. You've seen these movies. Number one, what do you think the project he's working on over at DC, and where do you think James Gunn fits best? Do you think he fits best in the Marvel universe? Do you think he fits best in the DC universe?
I think that as I wonder if it's on HBO Max, but they're really trying to expand the DC universe on HBO and also in the theaters. And I really feel like they're going to throw everything they can good at it in terms of leadership and storytelling. And why not pick James Gunn? Because he really understands the genre of the comic book films. And I feel like his style's not my style, but I appreciate his gifting. I feel like he's a very irreverent guy, and that's where he does best. I feel like he's repressed with Marvel, although I appreciate that in Guardians of the Galaxy, for me, these were unknown characters. And so for the first movie, within 25 minutes, not only did I care about each character, but I was on board. And I was like, I get Quill. I get Gamora. Okay, who's this new guy? Who's this tree guy? And within an hour of the movie, I'm like, this is my family. Like, these are my people.
Yeah, indeed.
And he does a very good job of storytelling and making you care very quickly. And so I think who is it, Discovery that's taking over HBO Max? And I'm just guessing here that this is on HBO Max. I think they're going to throw everything they can into doing a really good job fleshing out the DC universe. So I think it's DC, and I think he's best served with DC and not instead of Marvel, but I feel like what do they say? Let your freak flag fly. that's where I feel like he can spread his wings and not feel as repressed, because Marvel, sans Daredevil, is really about the family experience, and I don't think that's where he thrives in terms of being satisfied.
You know,
That's a very good point.
Here's something to also consider, and this is kind of very lamenting. Prior to the fallout with Disney, we often forget that James Gunn was set up as Kevin Feige's general for the everything intergalactic. Like, he was he kind of got promoted by Feige to be, okay, you're my right-hand guy when it comes to the to the galaxy expanse of what we're going to be doing with Marvel. So you could probably see he was going to be there. I don't know, maybe even Feige was trying to set him up to be the next Feige after inevitably Feige eventually. I mean, I don't know. Don't want to get into that, but I'm always kind of lamented that never came back. I think they were just, I'm glad they were able to mend the relationships enough for him to come back, but I don't think they were mended enough. So I don't know. We'll have to see where things go. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? What do you think, number one, is going to be this project that he's working on for DC and HBO Max? Secondly, where do you think James Gunn fits better? Do you think he fits better in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Do you think he fits better in the DC Cinematic Universe? And you know what? Why don't we make that a poll question for you guys right now? Ooh. Where does James Gunn fit best? MCU or DC? And we're going to say the options are MCU and DC. So I'm going to put that in there for you guys in the live chat to cast your vote. Where do you think he fits best in those two universes? Well, anyway, and the rest of you guys, how do you feel about this? Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move into main topic. What main topic are we on now? Number 3. Kim, what is our third main topic today?
All right, guys, this is coming from Degovi. John and crew, I find myself actually very excited about the new direction of the DCEU. The Flash looks super interesting, and Batgirl sounds great too. Well, there have been some leaked set photos from Batgirl that have made their way online. And not only do we see a shot of Keaton's Batman on a mural, but is that Robin? Curious if you saw the photos and what your thoughts are about this. Do you think we will get Robin introduced in Batgirl? Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
All right, Digovi, thanks a lot for sending that in. And yeah, listen, I don't want this to fly under the radar of how significant this is, because this isn't just about one character. This could have this one image we're about to look at here could have incredible repercussions about what it means for where the DC Cinematic Universe is and where the DC Cinematic Universe is going, all over a kid in yellow tights carrying a stick. Robin. Now, before we get into the image, let me be very forthright. I am a Robin fan. In the animated stuff and in the comic books. I personally have never felt you can properly do a Robin on the big screen because of what Robin represents. Now, you can do it in the comics, you can do it in cartoons. But the idea of Batman, particularly the post-Dark Knight Batman and our understanding of him, bringing around a 12-year-old child, because remember, I mean, the original iteration, I mean, that's what Robin is, a 12-year-old kid with no superpowers who carries a stick. The idea of an adult Batman, the Dark Knight, running around with a brightly dressed child and taking him into combat with mobsters and drug dealers and supervillains who have guns and weapons and everything. It is a 12-year-old child with a stick. I've often had people say to me, well, John, you like Hit Girl and Kick-Ass? Well, yes, because Kick-Ass is a satire spoof comedy that you don't take seriously. I don't want my Batman to be a satire spoof comedy that we don't take seriously. So yes, of course I love Hit Girl and Kick-Ass, because that's a very different kind of movie. And then I would have some Einstein say to me, but John, you like Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's a teenager. If Spider-Man can be a teenager in movies, and so can Robin. Spider-Man has the powers of the gods. He has superhuman strength, superhuman speed, superhuman agility, superhuman healing, and he has the magical spider sense. You want to say Robin has all that kind of stuff? Then yeah, I can see Batman taking somebody with superhuman strength, speed, agility, and magical bat sense, take him into combat too, because the stakes aren't as high. We are talking about a child who carries a stick.
And one of them got blown up.
Real good. After getting hit with the old crowbar over the head a few times, right? Yes. Oh, but then he came back and whatever. But,
yeah, I know.
Jason Todd conversation for another time. Now, so I've always said, if you want to do a Robin iteration, I'm cool with that, but you would have to do something that would piss a lot of purists off, which is you have to adapt it. Make it an 18-year-old Robin.
Like Chris O'Donnell.
Like a Chris O'Donnell. Just, less bat nipples. And we could be onto something. But or bypass Robin and go straight to Nightwing. Or something, just adapt it so it's not the traditional child Robin. And if you did that, I'm cool with that. I think that can work and work pretty well. I just know it would piss some
And in the
purists off.
Dark Knight, it was a little girl.
Yes. Yeah.
Kelly.
Of course, Batman Bruce was in a very different place in his life at that point.
Yes.
It was a very different sort of thing. But now we move on up to this. All right. This is where it gets really interesting. So, as the person in the questions pointed out, there's been some artwork, because we know Michael Keaton is going to be reprising his role Batman in the Batgirl movie, right? Well, a piece of artwork has come out. It's like a mural, like it's a fake mural that's on the wall, kind of like in the Spider-Man or in the Morbius trailer. There's that mural of Spider-Man on the wall, right? And in this mural, we clearly see Batman, and that's Michael Keaton's Batman. I mean, that is not Ben Affleck's Batman.
No.
Look at the costume. That's Michael Keaton's Batman. Look at the chin. Yes, it's all in the chin, says Kim. But look beside him. On that mural is a Robin in a very traditional, very good for sneaking around at night in the shadows, the bright yellow and orange and green outfit. Yeah, that's great. Good design choices there. But right beside him is Robin. That immediately tells us that Michael Keaton's Batman either has present tense or had past tense a Robin. So now I've had a bunch of people writing to me saying, John, do you see it's confirmed there's going to be a Robin in the Batgirl movie? No, that's not true at all. There might be a Robin in the Batgirl movie. All this image is telling us is that in the mythology of Gotham City, there's the Batman. Look at the way the mural's done with the sun behind him. This is a revered character. This is a Batman that Gotham loves. And alongside of him, Robin. That just means at one point there was a Robin. So maybe that opens the door for there's a dead Robin. Maybe that opens the door for there's a Nightwing running around Gotham City here. There's been a lot of indicators for that. A lot of other things. So that's interesting. But here's the more interesting thing to me that nobody is talking about. This means the history of Gotham City is not the Ben Affleck Batman. The Batman who has been a hero to Gotham City, the Batflick who has been the protector of Gotham City and the nightmare of villains, that ain't him in that mural. That's not him. That's a different Batman. Flashpoint, this is what I'm interpreting, okay? This is not confirmed, Rob. I'm just interpreting this. But how do you look at this and not interpret this as, yeah, Flashpoint is indeed going to be rewriting the history of the DCU, as Flashpoint should. I mean, that's what Flashpoint is. And in this new iteration of the universe, we talked about these rumors and discussions that were out the other day that, you know, and it's Flashpoint. It may be removing some characters and may not, all that kind of stuff. But this image to me, while everybody's focused on Robin, understandably so.
Yeah.
To me, it's what's the implications for where the DC universe is now? Because that ain't Ben Affleck. That's Michael Keaton's Batman, who's been the Batman. And is he even Bruce Wayne? Is he Thomas Wayne? If you understand Flashpoint, like maybe Michael Keaton is Thomas Wayne, which could maybe be an indicator why he's older now.
And Aquaman could be at war with Wonder Woman.
Exactly. I was going to go there next, which would be the Atlanteans could be at war with the Amazons, which I would pay good money to see an army of Amazons and an army from Atlantis coming together for a big, Braveheart kind of battle. Anyway, Rob, let me ask you this. Number one, the image. We got Robin in there, so that's significant on its own. Number two, am I reading too much into this, or do you see this image and think this gives us an indication about where the DCU actually is as far as its reality goes? How do you see it?
When I saw this, the first thing that struck me was one of the things I liked when I was a kid were the big 100-page giant compilation comics that DC would do. And I love the Batman family version when they had various iterations, multiple generations of Bat characters together. Now, Michael Keaton's Batman is like 70. So, and this is a Batgirl movie. And I think what I'm curious about is what is the tone of this film? Is it, looking at this Robin, it's kind of a jovial Robin. It's not like in the Ben Affleck version, you see the dead Robin's costume with the Joker painting on it displayed in the Batcave so he never forgets what happened. And we had that in the Snyder cut of Batman. We had the Joker saying he shouldn't let a boy do a man's job or whatever the line of dialogue was. So I think this Batgirl movie might be, let's call it a happier version. If Robin is in this, I don't think Robin will have necessarily died the way Jason Todd did. So I'm waiting. I think this is very intriguing. Like you pointed out, not Ben Affleck's Batman. Different universe, different iteration. Is it the same Batman that was is the Tim Burton Batverse the new DC version? I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see. I guess we'll know when the Flash comes out, but I'm very intrigued.
Let me ask you this. Let me give you an over-under.
Movie.
Over-under 50.5%. Because I'm curious to know your thoughts on this. That Michael Keaton's Batman is not Bruce Wayne, but Thomas Wayne. Over or under 50% that this Bruce Wayne...
Under.
You're going to go under
Bruce
on that.
Wayne.
So you're going to think this is going to be Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne.
All right. Kim, let's ask you this. I mean, number one, what do you think about when you saw that image? What do you think about the image? And where do you think this DC cinematic universe now is as a result of this picture? Or are we all overreading this and thinking, no, that's just Ben Affleck's Batman wearing an earlier version of the costume that looked like Michael Keaton's? I don't believe that, but I don't know. What are you thinking about this?
Oh, I'm so excited to see this. I'm so excited to see this. I think it's Thomas Wayne.
Yeah. So you're going to go over 50%
I
on that?
I really think that's where they're going to go with the story. Yeah. Yeah. Let's put a wager on it. Krispy Kreme. You need to bring me in a dozen Krispy Kremes.
All right, I'll take that bet. It's not Thomas.
By the way, it would also
I'll take
explain, because you're pointing out this Keaton's 70 years old, but it would explain like a much older Batman if it was indeed a Thomas Wayne. I mean, I think it's very close to the 50%. I'm not really sure which way I go. Anyway, You're excited about this.
I'm so excited. I'm super excited. Thomas Wayne, Rob.
No, they would
Are you
get Jeffrey
taking the
Dean
bet?
Morgan to play Thomas Wayne. Come on.
Who?
But that's a different universe because that universe is gone now, apparently.
I know. Well, we have to see. They're not going to make a Batgirl movie and not have Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
Yeah, it better be, the version I want to see.
It'll be like, you know what they'll do? It'll be more like Batman Beyond. The Batgirl in this movie is going to be more like the Terry McGinnis Bruce Wayne mentorship thing, I think.
What do you want to see, Ray?
Oh, no. I want to see, like, because the last thing that I did anything or read or was play Robin in Injustice.
Injustice Gods Among Us, right?
Yeah, he's my favorite character in that game, and just to think of all the stuff he could do with the stick, that would be cool to see. If it's that version, I would like to see that version.
That version, correct me if I'm wrong, but that version is Damian Wayne, is it not?
Yeah.
The version in Injustice is Damian Wayne
Yeah.
and Dick is Nightwing, and yeah, okay. Yeah, that was really interesting. By the way, somebody in the live chat, I missed it, pointed out another really great iteration of Robin that we're all overlooking. The Robin in the Harley Quinn animated show. I love that Robin. That Robin is awesome and it kind of represents everything. Anyway, guys, question is for you. You see this image. What do you think? Are you excited that there could be Robin? Do you think this means that Robin will be in the movie or Robin was just a part of Batman's past? Do you think this means that there was never any Ben Affleck Batman now that Flashpoint has reset the universe? Do you think it's simpler than that? I think there's a lot of great questions to be raised here. However you guys are feeling about this, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down and out of the way, it's time for us to play a little game of over-under.
Oh, no.
Here's what happened. We did a game of over-under last week, giving away a wonderful, cool Wenwu Funko Pop, right? I love Wenwu. And somebody apparently won, but then we found out that person had changed their pick of who was representing them. Oh, man. So here's what we're going to do. What's that?
By the way, who is it? JJ? What was that guy's name?
Yeah, it was Justin Jorgensen, I think it was. Yeah.
Because of him, I had a dream. I got left at the altar.
No.
Wow, Double J.
Way to go,
Wow.
Justin. You made
Double J
feel
ruined
bad.
their life.
Thanks. The Beyonce music video comes true. Thanks. So
Double
whoever
J.
picks me, I hope you're devoted. I hope you won't leave me when
All
it
right.
really counts.
All right, so we got to
Wow.
replay the game, as it were. We got to replay the game. So here's how over-under works. There are going to be 7 questions. That all of them are going to propose a scenario with a number. Then our 3 contestants, Ray, Rob, and Kim, have to say guess if the answer is actually over the number that I gave or under the number that I gave. Whoever has the most points at the end will win. And I got a secret list here today of who our contestants are, or of who are the people representing. So for all of you guys who sent it in, check your email a little bit later today, see if you won this thing. It is an autographed version of Wenwu. Keep your guys' eyes open for it. All right. With you guys ready? Point towards your hands towards your camera and give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Remember, if you think the answer is over, you thumb up. If you think the answer is under, give a thumbs down. Let's get into it now. And everybody watching live, feel free to play along, everybody. Throw in your answers as the questions get read. If we are ready, here we go with question number 1 of Over Under. The world waits. Here we go. Question 1. Over Under. The total worldwide box office of Simon Kinberg's X-Men Dark Phoenix. Over under 250 million. Once again, the total worldwide box office of Simon Kinberg's X-Men Dark Phoenix. Over under $250 million. We will ask for answers in 3, 2, 1. Put up the hands. Ray is going over. Kim and Rob are going under. And the answer is over. The film made $252 million. Still the biggest flop in the franchise's history. And Ray shoots into the lead. Ray is in the lead now. 1-0 to 0. Are you ready to give your speech now? Do you want to give your... your victory speech
Hey,
now?
I already won today. That's all that matters to me, baby.
All right.
You know what's cute is that Kim actually turned the monitor towards me, and I said, "Like I ever read it." I'm just putting thumbs up or thumbs down, baby.
All right. Here we go. We move on to question number 2 with Ray in the lead. Our second question here is this. Over under. The number of upcoming movies that Andrew Garfield has on his IMDb after Spider-Man No Way Home. The number of upcoming movies Andrew Garfield has on his IMDb after Spider-Man No Way Home, over or under 1.5. Over or under 1.5.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Are these movies that have been announced? Because sometimes they say announced and or is it just
Any
total?
credits. Any credits.
Okay, any credits.
Any movie credits he has on his thing upcoming, over under 1.5. And your answers in 3, 2, 1. Answers, please. Ray is going under. Rob and Kim are going over. The answer is under. Andrew Garfield currently has 0 upcoming movies listed on his IMDb page.
Wow.
After Spider-Man No Way Home.
Wow.
And Ray Aura is dominating right now. Shoots out to a 2-0 lead.
How can that be?
That's
I know. Is there a conspiracy here?
Not that you're dominating, but how can it be that Andrew Garfield? You can get lucky, but Andrew, come on.
No, that's all this is. 100%.
Okay.
You know what
lucky.
I thought it was a trick because I figured because of the secrecy of him, being in the film, that it wasn't on IMDb. So
There
For me,
it
I
is.
just looked at the number 1.5 and I was like, it's got to be really extreme for it to, I just felt it. I don't know.
Ray felt
You
it.
used the
so
force,
now you're
bro.
feeling things.
I'm
feeling
So now you got
feeling
some
it.
magic.
All right,
Oh,
we
we
got to
got a
get back to it,
deficit.
guys.
Right.
Got to get back to it here. Question number 3 with Ray firmly in the lead. All right, over under, guys, for question number 3. Over or under the number of movies Tom Hanks, and that says Med, it should say Meg. The number of movies that Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan have been in together. Over or under 3.5. The number of movies that Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan have been in together, over or under 3.5. And we're asking for answers in 3, 2, 1. Reveal. Okay, Ray is going under. Everybody is going under. And everybody is wrong. The answer is over. The two have been in Joe versus the Volcano, You Got Mail, Sleepless in Seattle, and Ithaca. They have been in 4
I
films
forgot
together.
Ithaca.
Most people forget Ithaca. So those are the 4 they've been together, which means after 3 questions, Ray Aura is still
Oh my gosh.
2 points in the lead.
Feel free to wave the white flag.
Here we go. We move on to question number 4. Question number 4. And our question number 4 is this. Over or under? The number of DC-based movies in the $1 billion club. Over or under 3.5. Number of DC-based movies in the $1 billion club. Over or under 3.5. And we're looking for answers in 3, 2, 1. Raise them up. Ray is going under. Rob is going under. Kim is going over. And the answer is over. There are 4 DC-based movies in the $1 billion club: The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises, Aquaman, and Joker.
Oh, right.
For the 4 films. So right now, it's getting a little bit tighter now. Everybody's just separated by 1.
I'm not even on the board, bro.
How many questions are there?
There's 3 questions left.
Come on, man.
So Ray has
Just be one
2.
more.
Kim has 1. Rob still has the goose egg, but only 1 point behind Kim, only 2 points behind Ray. And we now move in to question number 5. All right, here we go, guys. 3 questions remaining. Question number 5, and over under is this. Over or under? The official runtime of Thor Ragnarok. Over or under 2 hours and 14 minutes. Official runtime of Thor Ragnarok. Over or under 2 hours and 14 minutes. And we're looking for answers in 3, 2, 1. Raise them up. Ray, Rob, and Kim are all going under. So the scoreboard will not change because it is under. It is the official runtime of Thor Ragnarok is actually 2 hours and 10 minutes. considered short by modern MCU movies. So we still have Ray in the lead with 3. Kim has 2.
No, I only have 2.
No, you
No,
got
you
3
just
now.
got
yeah,
Three.
Yeah, Ray has 3 now. Kim has 2. Rob has 1. It is still technically anybody's game as we go into question number 6. And question number 6 is this. Over or under? The number of Academy Award nominations Mayor of Easttown star Kate Winslet has. Over or under 6.5. The number of Academy Award nominations that Kate Winslet has. Over or under 6.5. Remember, we're talking about Academy Award nominations, not Emmys. Number of Academy Award nominations Mayor of Easttown star Kate Winslet has. Over or under 6.5. And we're looking for answers in 3, 2, 1. Raise them up. Ray is going under. Rob is going over. Kim is going under. The point goes to Rob. The answer is over.
Oh my God!
Oh my
This could end up in a
Kate Winslet has 7 Oscar nominations, including 1 win. She is an incredible. Everybody over sleeps on Kate Winslet, man.
She's my
7
girl.
Academy Award nominations.
She's my girl.
She's amazing. All right. Which means now we are going into the final question, and there's literally only 1 point separating. Ray is in the lead with 3. Rob and Kim have 2. And they're only separated by 1 point. Ray could end up in a tie here. Ray could take this thing right now. If Ray gets this right, he wins. It's just that simple.
My God, man, it's gonna be like the Bengals.
All right, here we go, guys. Final question. And then I might have to come up with a sudden death one, but here we go. Over or under? Black Panther, you know what? I just put up the answer for the final question. Well, the question was going to be, I cannot believe that in the game of over under, the person to make the biggest mistake was the guy asking the questions.
Oh my God!
So here's what the question was, just for fun.
Oh
The
my
question,
God.
just for fun, was
The winner is La La Land.
in 2000
Ray.
Miss America is Miss Columbia or whatever. Steve Harvey did.
just for fun, the question was in 2018 domestic box office. In the 2018's domestic box office, did Black Panther finish over or under the Avengers Infinity War? And you guys already know the answer was over. Black Panther finished with 700 million at the domestic box office, while
wow.
Infinity War finished with 678. Interestingly enough, Infinity War finished with more money overall worldwide, but Black Panther did do that. So I'm gonna have to come up with a question now that I was totally unprepared to do. So here's what I'm gonna do. Give me a second. I'm gonna figure out a way to get this answered here. Okay, it's gonna be simple. It's gonna be box office question. Okay, box office questions. And we are going to go, let's see here. We are going to go with,
Hilarious.
yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I botched that.
La La
so bad.
Land.
La La Land. I mean, and what was the Mahershala Ali film that actually won?
Green Book.
Moonlight.
Oh.
Moonlight. Okay. So, okay, here we go. We are going to go with this. This is our final question. Over or under? We were just talked about Harley Quinn a second ago. Over or under the final worldwide box office total of Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, The Fabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Over or under $209 million worldwide. Over or under the total box office of The Birds of Prey, The Fabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Over or under $209 million. And your answer's in 3, 2, 1. Answer, please. Ray is going over. Rob's going under. Kim is going under. And the answer is under. It had made $201 million, which means
It's a tie.
we have a 3-way tie. We have a 3-way tie. So, how are we going to do this? How are we going to get to this 3-way tie? Okay,
I
Dance
don't know.
off.
That would be so
We
many
have to have a
questions.
dance off.
it's going to be elimination now.
Can you do the
Spelling bee.
Spelling bee.
backwards?
We're going to go spelling bee.
Usually go spelling bee with like the hardest
can't
last
do it.
names of actors.
I can't do a spelling bee.
Spell
No,
Prestidigitation.
can't do that.
All right.
That's not over and under.
All right.
You're changing the rules, bro.
I know. Let's just give them all a prize.
We will go back. Let's give them all a
I have
prize.
enough.
All right. We're going to go back over here we're going to go back to box office. All right.
Really
We're going to go back to box office. Okay. And our box office question is this movie all of us in this room love, The Martian.
Ooh.
The Martian. Here we go. The Matt Damon film, The Martian. Its total worldwide box office. Over or under $605 million. The Martian's overall worldwide box office. Over or under $605 million. And we're looking for answers in 3, 2, 1. Raise them up. Rob and Ray are going under. Kim is going over. If it's over, Kim wins. If it's under, Kim is eliminated. And the answer is over.
Oh.
The Martian made $630 million, meaning our winner, once again, is Kimberly and Curran.
All right, give it
When are you
up.
gonna learn? When are you gonna learn?
And then Ray held that dominant lead. It looked like he was going to pull it off. Rob came racing back. Anybody's game. Anyway, guys, for those of you who submitted yourselves, keep your eyes on your email. I will be sending out an email to you notifying you that you won this awesome Wenwu Funko Pop. So there's that. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Can I
for
just say,
participating.
I will be driving away from the show blasting different Beyonce songs. Today, it'll be filling myself with Nicki Minaj, because I am.
Oh, Justin, you should have put a ring on it.
Oh, double J.
But speaking of
Learn your lesson.
Speaking of close races, we're going to close off the form now with about 2,000 votes in the James Gunn Best Fit for MCU DC, 50% each.
Oh,
Wow.
It's that, yeah, that's what the polls coming in. It's at 50% each. So there you go for everybody. It's always good when there's one of each. Speaking of one of each, guys, when I got to take care of my gentleman, whether it's, Dr. Sledgehammer or whether it's the amazing Mr. Fantastical,
Dr.
there's only
Sledgehammer.
one name that I trust, and that is Manscaped. We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this video, Manscaped. Now, look, guys, it's a brand new year. It's time to make some resolutions about taking care of ourselves, and that includes taking care of our balls. For too long, too many guys I know have been using like beard trimmers, or even worse, this part of the electric razor to take care of the area down there. It's barbaric. It's like trying to carve the statue of David using a dull butter knife. Thankfully, there is a solution for guys like you and me, and it's Manscaped. Manscaped is a company dedicated to giving us guys products to take care of the parts that we often forget to take care of properly. Now, I've been using the Performance Package 4.0. The package includes the backbone of their line, the Lawnmower 4.0. And listen, I love this thing. It's designed and built specifically for our ball area, giving the best and most comfortable results that I have personally, honestly, ever had. And you have to try to believe it. It also comes with the Weed Whacker. It's a specialized tool for, your nose and ear hair trimming that Ray Ora himself just recently used for a special event, and it worked better than his previous tools. And I gotta mention the body wash. I am not joking. I used the body wash for the first time about a week ago, and you can ask Kimberly, Ray, or Rob, or any of them. I came into the studio that day raving about how I haven't enjoyed taking a shower this much in a long time. The body wash is fantastic. Also included is the crop preserver. That's your ball deodorant, guys. Take care of yourselves down there. And also don't forget the crop reviver, which is a ball toner. So guys, get 20% off and free shipping with the code Campea at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Make sure you use that promo code Campea. It's the new year, guys. No pubes in 2022 with Manscaped. Okay, guys, so when you go to manscaped.com to take care of the boys, don't forget to use that promo code Campea. It supports the show. So thank you guys so much for doing that. Okay, guys. With that all down and out of the way, let's now move over and start taking your live questions that you guys have been sending in. So Kimberly, our victorious Kimberly, yet again, justice was served. Kimberly, what do we got?
All right. First, I want to thank Wanda Blackwell for sending in a super chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda.
And then we're moving on to Spencer Nielsen, who says, favorite classic films I've seen recently. Adventures of Robin Hood.
With Errol Flynn, that's great.
Great movie.
The Black Stallion.
Love that as a
and
kid.
Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans.
I don't know Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans. Are
I'm
you
thinking Sunrise, Murnau's Sunrise. I don't know the other Sunrise.
But I remember as a little kid watching Black Stallion.
Oh yeah, I have the Blu-ray.
Yeah,
the
of course you
Criterion
do.
Blu-ray.
All right, what's next?
Beautiful.
Jack Master Norrid says, I saw the 355 and I liked it. I recommend it.
Hey, listen. The 355 started with like a 12% on Rotten Tomatoes. The last I checked, Ray, can you look up the 355 on Rotten Tomatoes? Because the last I checked, it had gone from like 12% to like 27%, which is still bad. It's still bad, but it's like more than twice as good as what it was, right? Ray, do we got a current Rotten Tomatoes number for the 355?
Right now.
Pulling it up there.
Oh, sorry.
Ba, 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 ba.
Audience score is 83%.
83. No. So what's the critic score on it?
25%.
Okay, so hey, it's more than doubled what it was. That means like 1 out of every 4 critics like it. Some people in the audience are like it. I mean, if you're going to go pay to go see it, you're probably predisposed. I mean, hey, awesome. That's why subjectivity of film is so cool. Just because some people don't like it doesn't mean others can't. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on that, Jack Master. All right, what's next?
Andy says, when John was promoting Manscaped yesterday, I thought he was an Instagram model for a sec because they're usually the ones promoting it. Can one imagine John in a tight bikini like an IG model promoting Manscaped? Well, now you can because I brought up that disturbing thought.
Again, it's that old Antonio Banderas skit on Saturday Night Live. If you guys remember that one, when he comes in and starts to, I must undo one button. No, Antonio, too sexy. It's the only thing. Like if I did that, here's the problem. This is the problem, Andy. If I were to do that, it would end marriages all across the world.
Under.
All right? Women, Ray is giving the thumbs down, under. It would be, all of a sudden, women would be looking at their guys and going, you don't measure up to this Italian glory. I mean, so I got to be responsible.
To Dr. Sledgehammer.
To Dr. Sledgehammer, you got to be responsible. Guys, with great sexy comes great responsibility.
Oh,
and
boy.
I got to take care.
Oh wow, that's
I am
really
burdened.
You really
I am
said it.
burdened with glorious responsibility
Burdened.
here. Burdened.
Burdened.
All right, let's move on. What's
Tough
next?
day. Sam Fisher says, can we do a No Way Home retrospective? Like who first reported that Toby and Andrew were going to be in the film?
I mean, that was, you're literally going back well over a year. I remember the first reports coming out. I mean, and I didn't buy them until about 5 or 6, maybe about 5 months ago now, was when I started to believe that they
Yeah.
would be into it with everything. But I mean, there were a lot of places initially reporting that they were going to be in it. And it was well over a year ago, but I can't remember specifically who it was. Like I know some individuals who did, but I can't remember who the actual originator was at this point. But that's a good question. All right, what's next?
Jack Master Norrid says, oh, I forgot to say hello to you, Guy. My bad.
Oh, no problem, Jack. Hello to you too. All right, what's next?
Mr. Graham 91 sends in a 1999 super chat.
Thank you.
I often hear them talk about rumors, theories, box office numbers, etc. And every time I hear something wrong, instead of saying correcting them, I just smile and realize they're just the average movie-going audience. Let's see his second part, which is way up here. I've learned a lot about the film industry watching your channel, provided the information you've given to your audience. Keep up the great work, John and Co. #follow the source.
Always follow the source. Always know where your source is coming from. And just because the source isn't variety, that doesn't mean it's not true. Just you got to then understand, okay, this could be questionable, all that kind of stuff. One of the things we try to be very careful of around here is we always tell you where we're hearing this from. And when it's not from some place that is completely rock solid reliable, that's not an insult to any of the other ones. But if something's not the Hollywood Reporter or Variety, we make sure to point out, look, you got to take this with a bit of a grain of salt. This may or may not be true. Let's talk about it as if it were true for a minute, for argument's sake, conversation's sake, whatever. But I do think one of the rampant spread of misinformation across the movie fandom is like insanely huge. Because I constantly get people writing to me that we don't share on the show, obviously, but constantly get people, hey, John, whatever happened to that? I don't know. Let me make something up. That Stephen Amell version of the Green Arrow movie that we're doing. No, that was never actually happening. That came from one of the Gus's gas station movie reviews.fart sites. That wasn't real. But like, guys, every day I get some form of question like that about, hey, whatever happened to that, that confirmed story that such and such was doing such and such. And I have to go, no, that came from some Gus's gas station movie reviews.fart site. Like, that didn't actually come from real. So it's something we try to keep on top of. And we're obviously, relying a lot on those sites. So we do the best we can. We're not perfect, but we do the best we can. All right, what's next?
A. Marcellus says, here's how you introduce the X-Men into the MCU. A. Wanda creates them. B. They were there the whole time, but Professor X mind wiped everyone. And C. Deadpool breaks the fourth wall and explains the merger.
The problem with the Professor X is just mind wiped everyone. There's a big logic problem with that. Professor X would have to mind wipe everybody on the planet every 10 seconds. Every 10 seconds that a mutant accidentally shows their power off in public, or a young teenager hits puberty when their powers manifest and whatever. It's like, so every 10 seconds, Professor Xavier's got to mind wipe the entire planet every 10 seconds. So that doesn't work. Wanda creates them. I'm big on that theory. I mean, Rob, if they were to do that, it would have to be an adaptation. But again, when you go back, the most famous words Wanda has ever said in the comics, no more mutants. A variation of that creates mutants. I could see that, but you have to Deadpool breaking the fourth wall. I'm not sure about that. You're still very big on the idea that they are here and they've been here the whole time, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because look, if they're created based on a gimmick, then their resonance to the Marvel universe is stripped away. They're not really here. And the idea that whatever they show up for, whether it's fighting for the rights of whomever, it doesn't work anymore because it was just this conjured up thing from one woman's mind. Whereas I like the idea that we just haven't seen them yet because they're not in public. They have not been revealed to the public. And I would buy that. There's a secret history of the world that we have yet to hear of the MCU that we don't necessarily know. Remember, it's not like superheroes have been around in the MCU for hundreds of years. They're a relatively recent phenomenon. And,
another thing to keep in mind too here is the implication of Eternals. Because with the bringing in of the Celestials and them in the comics, the origins of mutants come from the Celestials, and there's a whole. So maybe they've already started to lay the groundwork with Arishem and everybody else. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. All right, what's next?
Andy says, do you think Discovery's David Zaslav is keeping a watchful eye on Disney creatives with all their problems with Disney for potential hire?
Any good leader is always watching what's going on around them. Every good leader is always watching what's going on around them with their competitors, with their allies, with their enemies, whatever it is. You're always keeping an eye out for, because you want other people to make the mistakes so you don't have to. You want to capitalize on great ideas. You want to avoid the mistakes. So yes. And I think, listen, here's a really great indicator of how great David Zaslav has done running Discovery. I forget the exact number, but I remember the projected net value of that company is right now, which is huge compared to what it was when you think about Discovery. And here's the other thing. You never hear the biggest drama we have heard coming out of Discovery is that Bobby Flay didn't have a new contract. That's it. That's the biggest drama we've heard come out of Discovery. Bobby Flay didn't have a new contract and they might be parting ways, but then they fixed that. Bobby Flay's got a new contract. He's still at the Food Network. I mean, that's it. And so I am very excited about the leadership that a David Zaslav is going to bring to Warner Brothers. He's not going to be the guy writing the movies and all that kind of stuff, but he's going to give good, steady leadership to this company. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. All right, what's next?
The Batman says, WB, if you delay my film, I'm going to be handing out some vengeance. I swear.
Interesting thing. Warner Brothers did just put out a statement saying, we're still very happy with where our movie's coming out. Right now, we have no plans to move it. Now, look, I also want this. If the theatrical numbers start really hurting around the time of Batman coming out, I'll go out on a limb. I'll be the first one to say it. I want them to move it.
Yeah.
Because I want this movie to be successful.
Yeah.
Right.
I want this movie to make the kind of money that David Zaslav is sitting up in his tower and going, whoo-hoo, Woo! Can't wait to make more of those once I get hold of Warner Brothers. Like, I want it to be indisputable that this movie not only was great, but it was financially successful, and we got to lock down Matt Reeves, we got to lock down Robert Pattinson, we got to lock all this down, we got to move forward. So yeah, as a fan, if the numbers of the theaters are really, really hurting, and let's say Omicron, which, I mean, there are some hopeful positive signs starting to pop up, so fingers crossed, but I mean, I would actually be okay with them bumping it a couple months because I want this thing to be a ridiculous success. I don't know, am I being overly optimistic?
No, I mean, I think we all do. I look, it's bad. I don't like to see any movie fail, especially a movie that looks as exciting as this does. I mean, don't we all want it to succeed?
I think we all want to succeed. We all do. At least any sane person wants it to succeed. I mean, you may or may not like it, but here we'll see. All right, what's next?
Scott D says, Turning Red will not be Oscar eligible.
It depends on what rules, because remember last year there was a bunch of different rule accommodations that the Academy made. Listen, in all the bad decisions the Academy has made over the last number of years, best popular movie, please grab whoever was the first one to bring up that in a board meeting and drag them into the streets, please. But amongst all the bad decisions, I thought how the Academy, other than the fact that they even had an Academy Awards last year, I still believe they shouldn't have even had the Academy Awards last year. In hindsight, I even believe that more. But if you're going to do all that, making the decision to adapt the rules for an extreme time, I thought was a good move. I still don't think they should have had the awards at all, but if you're going to have the awards, they changed the eligibility rules, they moved some of the dates, they became more flexible about what could be. And I think you'll probably see some more accommodations this year. I don't know 100% for sure, but I think you're going to see, by the way, speaking of the Academy, I'll tell you the details later. I'll have to show this to you. I got reached out to for a job from the Academy. But
John's hosting the Oscars!
But it what they were offering to pay was insulting, so I don't understand. But anyway, I'll tell you guys about it afterwards. Anyway, I think they will make an accommodation. I bet Turning Red will end up being eligible. I mean, I don't know that for sure. I'm not telling you that's the truth. I'm just saying my guess is there will be some accommodations being made, and I think Turning Red will be eligible for the Oscars. It may not be, but that's just my guess right now. All right, what's next?
Harvest K says, Tracksuit Mafia is very upset Disney did not submit We Don't Talk About Bruno for Best Original Song. The banger is now number 5 on the Billboard Top 100.
I don't even know if that's true. See, that's so stupid. That could actually be true. By the way, We Don't Talk About Bruno is a really good song. Like, probably my favorite part of Encanto. That was a really, really good. We Don't Talk About Bruno. All right, what's next?
Oh, Bruno.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I missed that. They did say Bruno. Okay, there we go. Joe Fenton sends in a super chat.
Just
Thank
to be
you.
supportive. Thank you, Joe.
Just to
Appreciate
be
that, man.
supportive. Suthia says, just realized Ned is the first major Filipino character in the MCU, which I think is awesome. Hoping to see a Cambodian character one day in the MCU.
It'd be interesting to go through, too, because I wouldn't be surprised if there was at some point. But yes, Ned is, Pinoy boy. He's there. So, it's funny because being married into a Filipino family, every once in a while, I'm trying to be respectful, but I think I'm just coming across as the white goofy guy in the family. So like, I'll ask my wife, hey, how do you say good morning, mom? Or something like that. So then when I see Anna Ray's mom, I try to say that. And then Anne's mom looks at me like I'm a crazy person. Like, why are you doing that? Whatever. Like whenever I go up to like a cashier and I recognize that the cashier is like Filipino or something like that, I always, like, when I pay the money, I always say salamat, whatever, salamat, I should say, whatever. And when I say hello to them, I go,
shocked.
Yeah, kumusta ka? No, seriously, dude, you would be surprised how many times I seriously have, like, when I recognize that somebody's like a girl at a register or something, and I say salamat, they look at me like, oh, and then they start, what's really funny is then they start talking to me in Tagalog.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, no, you don't get it. I like said thank you. That's all I know how to do.
My knowledge.
But my favorite part of our private John Campea Show screening of Spider-Man No Way Home that the student gave us was when when Ned's grandmother, the Filipino grandmother, the Lola, was talking, and everybody in the theater's waiting to see what she's saying because there's no subtitles. and Ray and Ann are just like, ah! Ray and Ann are just laughing their heads off because they're the only two people in the theater who understood what the grandmother was being said. By the way, for all those people who were hating on Steven Spielberg, well, Steven Spielberg, woke, doesn't put in English subtitle. Well, guess what? They didn't in Spider-Man No Way Home either.
Right.
So it was just little short pieces that they didn't do that, but they didn't do that for her either. Anyway, so yeah. First Filipino character in there. Looking forward to seeing the other types that
I think it's really cool when they represent,
unrepresented people.
Yeah.
It's great.
In a big genre like this, it's really cool.
I agree.
Listen, just look at me. Like, I'm Canadian, right? Canadian is not exactly a big minority.
It's so exotic.
So exotic, them Canadians.
I'm an adoptee. Where's the come on?
Yeah, I mean, there you go. Look, all I'm saying is, and whenever somebody in entertainment, then I find out they're Canadian, how do I always refer to them then? Good Canadian kid. It excites me. Even it's just as a Canadian to see, oh, you go Ryan Gosling, you go Ryan Reynolds, you go, I mean, who's
William
the girlfriend?
Shatner.
William Shatner, probably the granddaddy of them all. Him and Lauren,
Christopher Plummer.
Lauren, why am I freezing on Admiral Adama?
Lauren Green.
Lauren Green. I mean, probably the OG of them all. Lauren Green. I mean, I get excited about that, seeing somebody that's, hey, you're Canadian like me, and that excites me. I can only imagine what it's like for a kid who rarely sees somebody like them being represented on the big screen. It's like the closest connection I have to that is just as a Canadian, and I actually get that all the time, but it still super excites me. And I can only imagine for a kid.
Imagine if you're from Iceland, dude.
No, the thought I'm having is
You got Will Ferrell representing you, right?
Yeah, that's right.
the thought I'm having
Bjork.
is, No Way Home hasn't even come out in the Philippines yet. As soon as they start seeing that movie, it'll be crazy.
Yep, it'd be crazy. All right.
That's
Anyway,
right.
Because I think someone was telling me in the chat that it was it wasn't coming out until the 16th or today or
Someone
18th.
did say that a few weeks
Yeah.
ago. Yeah.
yeah.
So
it's
hopefully
up-
they all
still
get to
someplace
see
in the
it.
world.
Hopefully y'all get to see it.
All right, what's next?
Luis Enrique de la Peña says, "What do you call a tracksuit mafia thug who has no money? I'll wait. He's broke."
Roll.
But
Bro.
Never get old.
Keep it
do
coming,
they?
baby.
All right, what's next?
no, don't.
Rob wants him.
Elizabeth Gerardo says, "It's game day."
It's game day. Boba Fett tonight. Hopefully, it continues the upward trajectory of episode 2. Hopefully, it doesn't return to the mediocrity of episode 1.
I want to see that gladiator guy. I call
Oh,
him
the Wookiee.
Chewie on steroids.
Yeah, but here's one of the cool things about that too. I don't know if you guys saw it, but they're Ming-Na Wen and Morrison's first name, Tamora.
Tomorrow.
We're doing an interview on Entertainment Tonight Canada.
Oh, I saw that.
And I don't know if you guys saw this, but like Tamora Morrison, they're talking about the returning to. He goes, "Oh, listen, there's this wonderful scene where Fennec and Boba are on the platform of a gut, and all of a sudden Ming-Na Wen is stop, like she's like, like she literally has to speak, and like she has to, and Tamora's like, oh." There's a scene that we're in together that's very exciting and going on. Like, that's what I'm like.
That would be me right there.
I'm like, yes, I was like, oh, what were they about to talk about?
Oh, someone's camera
Because
went out.
Ming-Na is a big geek. She really
She
knows
is.
her stuff.
Yes. Anyway, by the way, I forgot to turn on your fan, so your camera just overheated. But go ahead and ask the next question anyway.
Okay, this is coming from Jacob Hirsch. He says, "I know you hate will die questions, but over under 65, Wong dies in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Steven needs to become Sorcerer Supreme again somehow."
Well, listen, there is nothing in the MCU that has ever said that the only way the title of Sorcerer Supreme can be passed on to somebody else is if the current Sorcerer Supreme dies. That's never been said in
No.
the MCU. Literally, Wong can just give the title back over to Steven if he
Can't
wants
kill
to.
Wong.
But they could kill Wong.
I freaking love him. Don't do it.
Because you tell me, other than Steven himself,
Well,
and which they already played this card in What If with, what's the actress's name? from who plays his love interest. Good Canadian girl, and I'm freezing on her name.
Oh,
Rachel McAdams.
Rachel McAdams. Thank you. From
Notebook.
From the Notebook and from
Mean Girls.
Wedding Crashers. I think of her from Wedding Crashers. So good Canadian girl. But they've already, like, nobody can die in Stephen Strange's sphere that would have a bigger emotional impact than Wong. They already played the Rachel McAdams card in What If. So they, narratively speaking, they could kill him. They could. I mean, I don't want them to. I love Benedict wanting this role. I mean, to me, he's the new Nick Fury of the MCU.
He's so good.
He's so good. Anyway, okay. What's next?
This is from Kyle McGowan. He says, "Hey, John and crew. How about Kingpin Godfather type film in the MCU directed by Martin Scorsese? Bring him in and make an awesome mob movie."
Again, the only problem, of course, is that Martin Scorsese only does cinema. He only does cinema. Listen,
I would love to see that, though.
of course we would.
I would love to see that.
Who would, like, how would you see that going?
Well, you know, a rise to power of Wilson Fisk and make it like, I always go back to Godfather 2. That kind of structure. I said that's what I wanted Black Panther, Wakanda Forever to be, but I would say the whole thing. Watch Wilson Fisk's rise to power in Hell's Kitchen or Coming to America or whatever it was, and then juxtapose that with some modern day story where he's solidifying his power after the blip. I don't know, but make it badass.
All right. And we found out what was wrong with Kim's camera. Kim forgot to plug it in.
It's on my to-do list too, and I didn't do it. So,
But don't worry, we should have Kim's camera back now, any minute now. Anyway, but for now though, let's keep going here. What's next?
all you need is my voice. Just follow my voice. HV3 says, checked out the new Bel Air trailer because someone mentioned it on your show. I loved it. I can't believe how good this show looks. I had no idea it was coming, and now it's one of my most anticipated.
I still have not watched the trailer. But I will say, I'm hearing a lot of negative things from people about the trailer, but I will say this. I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on it. I will only say that the concept works for me very much. I think the concept is wonderful. Taking the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, when you really just look at the concept, that's heavy drama. It's not comedy. They made a comedy out of it, but so I'm down with the concept of it. I am very much. All right, what's next?
Tim Platt says, if you're not careful, John, Rob is going to out-filthy you. He's been on fire lately.
Oh. Well, see, the filthy...
They are filthy.
The filthy is a way of life. You got to live filthy, my friends. Live filthy.
Since I was 13.
I've been taking a shower this whole week. Is that what you mean by filthy?
No.
Oh. Sorry,
No,
Kim.
filthy is a mindset. Filthy is a way of life. It's a mentality.
He said sorry.
I don't just act filthy. I am the filthy. That's the way you got to live. All right. What's
You guys
next?
You can have that.
no
You can
idea
have
what
it.
this room smells like.
I am the filthy. All right.
I'm not thinking.
Luis Enrique de la Peña says, Marvel Phase 2. Oh, here we go. Bror, the Dark Bro.
Oh.
Captain Bromerica, the Winter Bro. Brodians of the Galaxy, Brovengers, Age of Brotron, and Ant Bro.
Yeah. All right. So I got
Bring him on, baby. I'll laugh to it.
Camera in focus here.
I will laugh to all those. As long as there's one that's so gold in there that I laugh, then you know Rob is with me, totally with me.
Am I? Am I?
Am I though? Am I? All right. What's next?
Raymond Virata says, passed by the Full House to pay respects to Bob Saget. I thought it was cheesy to visit movie houses, but when stars die, we look for memorials.
It's true, and I don't think that's cheesy at all. I think, especially if you grew up, if you're one of these people who grew up on that show, and that was your screen representation of what a dad is,
Yeah.
then those are emotional connections we have, and they're legitimate emotional connections we have. And I think going by to see that, like, what do you think?
Well, you know, it's what's really interesting if something lives in your imagination and it never goes away, and there's some kind of tangible reality to that thing that exists in your mind. I think to go see it means that there's a reality to your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions, and it's always good to realize that there's a real grounding to it all. I don't have a problem with that.
I agree. All right, what's next?
Wow, Rob.
My Comic Planet says, so I watched the season 2 premiere of Euphoria, and OMG, is it one of the most visceral, raw, and mesmerizing episodes I've seen in a while. The first 10 minutes of the episode felt like a Scorsese film. Tone very different from season 1. Give it one more try, John. It was incredible.
No, thanks. I'm good. Again, it's just not for me. I recognize that, wow, this is really well done. The thing is, movies, storytelling, they're experiential events. The experience it was creating for me was one I was not comfortable with. And again, that's not to say that other people shouldn't be comfortable with it, and it shouldn't hit them in a really, in an exciting way and whatever. This is very engaging. For me, it's just done in such a way with great excellence, but it's just like, these are feelings I don't want to feel while I'm watching a show. It just, there's an ickiness I feel to it. And that is a testament, I think, to how well they were creating the experience. And I think for some people like me, it just weighs in a way that I'm not comfortable with. And I love that it's weighing in a way for other people that they're really engaged with it. I think that's great, but it's just clearly not for me. Rob, I know you had a similar experience to it.
I mean, it just made me feel unhappy. It's like, look, there's a filmmaker named Greg Araki that I'm a huge fan of, and he made his Teen Apocalypse trilogy. And the second movie in that Teen Apocalypse trilogy is called The Doom Generation. I have a really hard time watching that movie now. I used to love it, but now I'm like, I'm just too old. I shouldn't be watching this anymore.
All right, what's next?
Jack Master Norad says, here's one, Robert Meyer Bronette.
And
the Bro Network.
Oh my god!
You know what? I'm gonna have to. I need graphics. Somebody send me those.
Put
graphics.
you in the tracksuit.
I'll do a whole episode as the Bro Network and Robert Meyer Bronette if people send me the appropriate graphics.
I'm telling you.
I'll send you appropriate clothes.
No, I need
Halloween.
lower third. You'll send me the clothes. I need a good tracksuit.
Halloween office costume.
All right, what's next?
Iconic Reaction says, I want to show Ray and Luis from Ant-Man on D+.
You give Luis and Ray a television show on Disney Plus. It is the #1 viewed show in the world.
Why don't they do? I mean, I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. I was waiting for the recap for the Infinity Saga storyline.
How did they not do that?
I don't understand how they didn't do that. A recap of where going into Phase 4. Let's explain the Marvel Cinematic
Or even
Universe.
just at the beginning. I know you're trying to go into Endgame with a sense of heaviness, but if Endgame just started with, okay, so 5 years ago, and Michael Pena is just, he created this character with these nuances and these quirks that is so free. You just smile the moment he comes up on screen. And I don't know why they're not leveraging that more.
No.
Because
They need to do it, and
that.
they need to do it and have it just come out of nowhere.
Yes.
Like the next show, and you're just like, okay, what's this show? Oh my god!
I will
Oh,
say
here we
this,
go.
though.
He's so good.
Dude, the opening of Endgame is incredible.
Yeah, and it really is.
It's incredible. Like, how would they open that movie? I don't think a movie has a sequel has a better opening.
How did it open again? I completely forgot.
With Hawkeye's family being snapped.
You know what?
right.
I bet my nephews at the end of Infinity War the exact opening, and I made the little one give me $10 because at the end of Infinity War I said, I bet you anything on Endgame's going to open with Hawkeye's family. But I said they'd be at a dinner table and then they'd all disappear. But I was close, so I took money from a child.
That was brutal.
All right.
I'll tell you what, though. I'm watching it, right? And, like, it opens with the kids. I'm like, oh, no, because I'm like, oh, no, his either some or all of his family is about to get dusted. Oh, my God, no, this is going to be so powerful. And then the one kid goes, who puts mayonnaise on hot dogs? I'm like, fuck those kids. Kill him, Thanos. Get him. Get him.
Make them disappear.
And then he turned around and dusted. I'm like, yeah, that's what you
So
get.
mean.
It's so funny.
So mean.
It's so funny that when that scene first pops up, everyone in the audience was like, like they already saw it coming.
Yeah, oh yeah. But it's done so well. And then hearing Mr. Fantasy come on over the Marvel logo, it's great.
Okay, sorry. I just had to get my little vengeance out there for that. What's next?
My Comic Planet says, John, my GA Bulldogs finally won the champ from Bama last night. We're going to be loaded next year too. Go Dogs.
That was a great game. That was a really, really good game.
I'm not gonna
Although
show-
I
I'm not
gotta
gonna
say,
show my number right here. But
oh, what's that? What
it's
do we got
my
there?
Bank of America card.
Oh, with your Bulldogs thing right on there. How come Ryan came over and watched the game? Why didn't you come watch
I
the
was
game
watching
with
the
us?
game. I was just really tired. I just didn't want to go anywhere.
Well, I'm gonna say it was kind of crazy though. Like 3 times they got like inside the 10 and they refused to run the ball. Like all they needed like was a couple of yards, and they kept throwing it and putting themselves behind the thing. But listen, Georgia, I mean, I felt bad for Georgia when they had this incredible unbeaten season going, and then they ran into Alabama a few weeks ago that just dominated them. Feel good for them that, like, I was cheering for Alabama, I'm not gonna lie, but I felt really good for Georgia seeing them get that monkey off their back and get that win. It was really, and then seeing the quarterback. Do you see this, Ray?
Yeah.
The quarterback, who's this wee little Daniel Radcliffe sized quarterback for Georgia, but seeing him running around hugging every player like this because he's so short, like giving the hug.
God.
He was like Doug Flutie, right? But even before the clocks hit 0, weeping, like openly weeping. This was a kid nobody gave a shot to, nobody believed in, and he was like 5th on the depth chart or something like that of Georgia's quarterbacks, and he led them to a national championship. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, this is real life storytelling. This is sometimes real life just gives you the best stories, and I felt so good for that kid. Anyway, sorry. Yes, congratulations to the Bulldogs. All right, what's next?
John Redcorn says, what will be the biggest box office movie in April? Morbius, Sonic 2, or Fantastic Beasts?
Fantastic Beasts will be like, because in as disappointing as the Fantastic Beasts movies have been compared to the original Harry Potter movies, they've still been pretty good.
Yeah.
And Morbius is a completely, it's going to struggle a little bit. It's a completely unknown character. The trailers have been great, so it's going to do pretty good. Sonic is also going to do pretty good. The first movie did well, but not blockbuster numbers by any such. So I actually think I'm not saying I think Fantastic Beasts is going to be the best movie out of the bunch. I think that's going to be Morbius. But I think Fantastic Beasts is going to do, what do you guys think, Rob?
I think it's going to be Fantastic Beasts.
You think Fantastic Beasts?
Yeah, I mean, Sonic is only going to, it has a certain appeal, and it doesn't have much of an appeal beyond that. Whereas Morbius, it really depends on how good Morbius is. Mm-hmm. But, you know, Morbius is a horror film. A lot of people don't dig horror movies.
Ray, what do you think? What's going to be the biggest box office one for that?
It has to be Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, I think so too. Kim, what about you?
Oh, Fantastic Beasts. The 20-year Harry Potter reunion ignited a desire for more of the world of Harry Potter. And so, yeah.
I think you're
people
absolutely right about that. You know, I watched that.
Oh, it was so good.
I have to tell you, I didn't understand why Anne was like openly weeping. That the opening of that made me get physically emotional.
Yeah.
Like just watching the images and stuff, and I'm hearing the music, and I'm not even a huge Harry Potter fan. There is magic in that opening where I was getting all, you know.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Brandon Blake says, do you think we will ever see streaming shows give us 20 plus episode seasons that can be with us most of the year? That's something I do miss.
No, because they won't want to budget for that.
True.
I miss it too. I miss real full seasons. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm enjoying a lot of the streaming shows, obviously very, very much, but there's also a sense of frustration. And I'm sorry, I don't buy this. Well, that's why we don't get filler episodes. Guess what? You're still getting filler episodes. And guess what? If you're a good showrunner, you don't need filler episodes, whether you're 6 episodes, 15 episodes, whatever. If you know how to properly pace and tell your story, or tell multiple stories in a year, right? Like I go back, you watch something like, Heroes season 1. That
was a great season of TV.
I mean, granted, that's my all-time favorite single season of television. Was
Boy,
Heroes
did
season
that
1.
show jump the shark.
Oh yeah, it did. After that first season, it just did not recover. Season 3 was better than season 2, but it was nowhere near the goodness of that season 1. It was never able to get there. Because was Sylar? Yeah. Sylar was one of the great small screen villains ever. And he kind of got neutered as you got into the further seasons. But the whole mystery of it, everybody knew Save the Cheerleader, Save the World. But I mean, again, that's just an example of when you're telling good story, and you know how to tell multiple storylines, a 20 episode, 18 episode season is not a stretch if you're good at what you do. But with streaming, a big player of it is You get to condense your budget.
Yeah.
You know,
And
Can you
there's not.
imagine Hawkeye with the 20 episodes?
they could have done a lot more with it.
Well, I mean, it comes down to writing, but John, like you said, they don't have networks paying for the shows through commercials.
Yeah,
And also, I mean, these streaming shows spend more money per episode than network. They have higher production values than network shows, and for the most part, not always, but
Partially because they do 1/3 of the episodes.
exactly because and I think the writing, we're living through a golden age of TV, and the best of the streaming shows are some of the best TV that we've ever had.
Like La Brea.
Dude, I gotta tell you, Elizabeth and I watched the first and last episode of La Brea last weekend because I was telling.
And skipped everything in the middle.
Yeah. For her, like, you don't need to see anything.
That
in the middle.
sounds like the best idea ever. I'm doing that today. I'm doing that today.
It is so. First of all, that show is, no offense, it's horribly written, and it makes no sense.
Absolutely.
And I wanted it. I love Manifest. I wanted to love La Brea.
I did too, because I saw, there's a saber-toothed tiger? This show has got to be good.
Where's Charlie Sheen?
Where is Charlie Sheen?
Dude, it was La Brea. But you know what? I can't wait for season 2 to watch the first and the last episode.
I'm going to start doing that. We should do a Brea watch.
Brea watch. All right, what's next?
Barth Revan says Hollywood makes a John Campea Show movie. Who plays all 4 of you? Who directs? And what studio is making it? Bring on the filthy.
I mean, I never do
I'm
X
played
Actor
by The
and X-
Rock, obviously.
yeah, but it's
X
who,
Actor next
but
role.
it's not X Actor next role.
Well, I mean, somebody
It's
just said
who's
it.
playing your life,
I'm
John.
like-
you.
But that's still X Actor next role. But I will say this: we just said it. Michael Pena's, even though he's not Filipino, has got to play Ray. Michael
Or
Pena
The Rock.
playing Ray,
Or The
or
Rock.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
And then John's Liam Neeson or Matt Damon.
Gosling's playing me.
Obviously. And Kim? Who plays you?
Christopher Plummer.
Beyonce. Come
or
on.
Beyonce. Beyonce playing Kim. I mean, that's
Okay,
kind of
there
an
we go.
obvious.
She can't
Directors
act.
and-
Okay, then so then
Let's talk about movies, y'all. I don't want her acting and being me.
man, okay.
She can sing, but no, probably Zaz. I like.
Well, no, I already know who's
She's
got to
cute.
play me. I already know who's got to play me. Let me see if I can bring this up properly here, because this was put up not terribly long ago. Let me go to my photos here and get this on my timeline. Your photos. Here we go. This who's got to play me, because everybody says we look. I mean,
That's
we are
pretty good.
We are brothers. We are brothers, right? There you go.
Oh, there you
Pretty
go.
good, man.
I mean, you are in the Hawkeye poster. They put you in the Hawkeye
there.
poster.
That's
yeah,
right. That's
that's
right. I was in the Hawkeye
Man,
poster.
some amazing person did that.
That's pretty
I mean,
good.
that's me. I mean, obviously, Jeremy is got the shallow end of the good looks pool compared to me. But other than
I
that,
actually really like that.
that's so. We'll go Jeremy Renner. Jeremy Renner playing me. So I don't know.
Oh, that's so fun.
So does Adam McKay direct?
And Adam McKay
No,
directs.
and directs.
I like that.
And
You know,
directs.
and see, Anne is already the director of my life, so
Yeah.
it would just stand to reason that
Okay.
Anne would direct the
There
film.
you go.
Who's gonna play Anne?
No,
Anne
she
will
plays
play
herself. She's the
Oh,
director.
Yeah.
well, okay, I got it. Okay, I got it.
Or just no actress, just a shining beam of light is there to represent Anne. She's watching this somewhere. I'm scoring points. When I start asking for the new Xbox or whatever, when he says you've already got the PS5. Did you see me talking about you being a glowing light on my show, honey? Anyway, all right, what's next?
Catch up on A.
Yes.
All right, we'll skip
Says-
that question. Next up.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, fine, we can do his question.
Wow. What-
Hello, everyone. This goes out to Rob.
Okay, we're skipping his question.
Oh, are we?
No, go ahead.
Yo, Rob, would you ever consider making a 3-part video showcasing all of your physical media?
Three parts.
you know, I
that would
would.
take a week.
I would, but we have to move, and what?
yeah,
but,
yeah.
but I would do that. But you know, we do a physical media show every Sunday. I do it with Dieter
Man.
Bastian. Let's get physical media every Sunday. We show what we bought every week, and
Oh,
so
that's
join us
cool.
there. Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know you did that.
But it would take. That's like a 20 episode thing. That's
It's
not
a lot. I
that's
mean,
not 3 parts.
I don't know if I'd have to pull out every disc. You know, I was doing a letter by letter, and I stopped at like H.
The
Maybe I should
steel
go back
books,
to that.
man. I want to see all those.
All right, what's next?
Al Renshaw says, comeback story. Wink, wink. Think of Parks and Rec.
Oh my God. It is one of the greatest outtakes in television history. You guys will have to go and look it up for yourselves because the way I'm going to describe it does not do it justice. It is the greatest outtake ever. It is Parks and Rec. There's the whole cast. There's a scene where the whole cast is in it, right? And they're trying to brainstorm. And Leslie Knope, played by Amy Poehler, saying, hey, come on, guys. And quite often in Parks and Rec, they would let the cast just riff, just kind of try to improvise, right? And they're like, come on, everybody loves a comeback story. And say, or Rocky, one of the cast members, Rocky, yeah, that's a great one. Somebody say, like Black Stallion, oh, yeah, that's a great one. And then Chris Pratt playing Andy, he's like, Kim Kardashian. And like the rest of the cast is, well, okay, Kim Kardashian? It's like, yeah, because that one video, she has cum on her back. and you see the cast die. Like the whole cast literally start falling out of their chairs.
I completely forgot about
laughing hysterically.
Wow, you brought the filthy today, John.
I did bring the filthy, but I mean, it's just, again, you have the way I'm describing, forget how I described it. You got to go look up that outtake on YouTube because it's there. It's all over YouTube. You got to go
the Kim
find
Kardashian in video too, for reference, obviously.
Wow.
It is one of the funniest outtakes I've ever seen. You just got to go watch. And the funniest thing is watching the reaction from the rest of the cast, particularly Ron Swanson.
That was great.
Nick Offerman. Like
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna die. He started laughing so hard. Anyway, there's that. All right. What's next?
Ketchup on Eggs says, after the movie collection video, Rob, you can also add a post-credit scene teasing your Hot Toys or Hook collection.
Well, again, that's something that would take.
Yeah, but also
quite a while.
I've got to set up wherever we move to when I have the setup back in.
Which is the best time to do a movie because you'll have like a new setup.
Yeah,
you
that'll be
show
the best time.
But who doesn't love a before
So
and after?
sometime in the latter half of 2022, I
Is he
promise.
talking about Hook the movie?
No, Rob hates Hook the movie, even though the movie's
Oh,
great.
okay.
They
He might
made-
be talking about Hook.
Yeah, I don't know what.
All right, what's next?
How do you hate Hook? Okay, John Redcorn says, ideas if John loses another bet. Takes a pie in the face on live air. Forced to rewatch Thunder Force. Must cover Kids' Choice Awards on the show.
I would probably take any of those if we get into a bet that I feel pretty strongly about, but it would have to be something I feel pretty strongly
The
about.
Kids'
So
Choice would be hilarious.
having to cover Kids' Choice Awards would be brutal, man. That would be brutal.
I
All
would
right,
love it.
What's next?
Ismail Montoya says, John, over under 50%. Dr. Aphra shows up in Boba Fett.
I'm gonna go under, but I think it's a legitimate shot. Like, because once that Wookiee showed up, that's where he comes from. Is from the Dr. Aphra comics. I mean, and Dr. Aphra is a great character. And not only that, I want to see those two damn murder droids. I want to see that 3PO. There are I mean, Rob can speak more to it too, but there are these two droids that are kind of a C-3PO and an R2-D2. It's not 3PO and R2, but it's a 3PO
Yeah,
unit.
an
It's an R2
astromech
unit.
droid and a protocol droid.
But it turns out they're actually Imperial prototypes that are like the massive, like mass destruction murder bots.
Oh, yeah, the ones that you were saying were like,
Yes.
I want to kill him. Let's
Yeah, and
eat his
basically the
face off.
3PO thing is always about, oh, the blood would flow wonderfully from your neck if I were to rip it out right now. And like that's all they want to do is murder. That's
I kinda
all
wanna
these
see
two
that.
droids want to do is murder, murder, murder. And Dr. Aphra's got some kind of restraining bolt on them that prevents them, that makes them have to obey her commands and stuff like that. But if that thing comes off, it's all murder. It's
Wally
all
from hell.
kill, death, kill.
Wally from hell.
It's I
I
want to
love
see these
robots.
characters on screen so badly. So I'm going to go under 50%, but still a chance. I still think an okay chance. We'll see. All right, what's next?
All right.
L. Renshaw writes, Hammer Time premiere on Cock Max. Back to you, Kim.
All right, what's next?
Stash Died Iggy says, and this is one of three, 355, it's sad bad. Now positive. Scott directed it better than his last, but definitely cannot elevate the script. He's bound to it. So dialogue bad, tone bad. It was
Oh,
everywhere.
it's Simon, not Scott.
Oh.
Just Stash wrote Scott, but it's Simon.
Sorry, I'm trying to find the rest of stat. Oh, it's way up here. It goes from serious to FF6 fun territory, back around. Rating unkempt mustache, 2 out of 5.
What?
But in Dolby Atmos, shit, there's a 360 explosion popping going around you twice. Almost made up for it. Hold on. These are really spread out. Oh, and the worst name for a movie, the 355 and it meant nothing to the audience. We were like, and it ends with a Fun Girl anthem rock song out of nowhere.
Again, not a lot in there making me want to go to see this movie, but I will have to check it out.
I was going to think today, and now I'm like,
that's the most scoped, in-depth kind of coverage of the movie I've seen so far.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's like round by round results in boxing.
Yeah, in round 3.
They're typing up so fast that it's like.
All right, what's next?
Matt Simmons says, Matt Sim, this is one of 3. Hey, John, new subscriber to Cockmax here. The decline in quality of visual effects in Marvel movies has really bugged me lately. Sorry, I'm trying to... to me...
By the way, time out, guys. Guys, if you're going to send in a multi-part thing, type it out in Notepad or something first so you can copy and paste them in quickly so we don't have to go scrolling all over the place. Just a little thing. It'll just help us get through it a little bit faster. Okay, anyway, please continue.
To me, the CG in the first Avengers is better than Spider-Man No Way Home. Shang-Chi, I don't understand why Marvel has moved to using things such as CGI cars, as well as stops filming on location. It takes away the verisimilitude. Your thoughts? Love the show and can't wait for Moonfall Ticket Watch.
Moonfall. I'm going to disagree with you. I think the visual effects in the movies have not taken a step backwards. Like personally, I love the visual effects in Shang-Chi. I really do. Now, if you're going to start talking about the Marvel shows, well, yeah, they have significantly smaller budgets. I mean, they say they have movie budgets, but they don't have, and on the per minute basis, they do not have the same budgets as MCU movies at all. But I think overall, it's looked pretty damn good. So I don't see that. What do you think, Ray?
You know what I was surprised of? I'm not really a fan of just any car chase things, but the thing they did in Hawkeye, I thought that looked pretty good. Like the first car chase.
That one continuous car.
Yeah,
that looked pretty good.
On there,
that looked pretty good.
Whoa, this is cool.
No, that was really good.
I will say the worst CGI I've seen in a Marvel film lately, and this is a one instance thing. End of Eternals, Pip.
Yeah, that
looked
That was weird.
horrible.
That was so
It was
weird.
good.
It was almost like they only decided to do it at the last
That
second.
was like the night
and didn't-
before. They're like, we got to get this in.
Yeah.
Wake Jerry up and see if we can finish it by 4 a.m.
You know, I think one of the real problems I think that people are responding to with the MCU is the fact that a lot of their action sequences and effect sequences are designed by their design team. So they have people designing these beautiful tableau and great comic book imagery with characters fighting, and those are pre-designed, but they're designed by artists as opposed to people that are actually going to put a real camera somewhere. So the visual effects are inherently, and they look more animated because they're not as grounded in the real world, and so they're more from comic book pages. So when they cut to those shots, they're inherently unrealistic. And I think that's what you're responding to. When you intercut shots like that with actual live action actors, the reality, the verisimilitude is shattered.
I'll give you an example of when it really worked well, though. Bus fight scene in Shang-Chi. Like to me, that is one of the most exciting action sequences. A lot of visual effects in that.
There was, but there was the way they shot it, there was a lot of reality in it too. So it's all about the.
It was a combination. It was an amalgamation.
And you have to be able to design such where the live action and the visual effects and CG work well together. And that's a hard thing to do. That's where a great director is necessary and who's working with a great visual effects team.
By the way, Ray was about to ask, when does Eternals come out? I believe it comes out tomorrow.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the deleted scenes?
No, I still haven't. I have not.
I saw 2 deleted scenes with Sprite, and I'm like, why would they? I understand they cut it for time.
This was a long movie.
There's a great scene with Makari and Sprite, and there's a great scene with Dane and Sprite in the museum. And I'm like, why'd you cut these things out, bro? No.
All right, what's next?
Soundwave 20 sends a 1999 super chat to support us.
Thank you, Soundwave. That's really generous of you, man. Thank you for that.
Elizabeth Gerardo says, Turning Red going straight to Disney Plus, really unfortunate. I was really looking forward to seeing it in theaters as I've been struggling seeing films at home.
You know what? A buddy of ours, Rob, texted me yesterday and brought up a point about the whole Turning Red going now just to Disney Plus that I hadn't really considered about. And he said this: Bob Chapek is really an asshole when it comes to how he's treating theaters. He goes, think about this. I've been spending months going into theaters putting up their posters, like taking up their wall space with Turning Red posters. I know at the Tyler Galleria AMC that we go to, they've taken a huge in the front foyer, this huge Turning Red display and all that kind of stuff. And they're playing the trailers in front of the stuff. The movie theaters have been advertising this stuff, taking up their wall space, advertising it. You've told them this is coming to your theater so they can plan to have all that kind of stuff. Like some people complaining when Spider-Man came out and like a lot of movie theaters were running out of stuff. Like they were running out of soda and things. Well, they don't know what's to come and what they can plan for. And then, you know, Disney's asking, oh, movie theaters, can you promote our thing? Make sure you got all the ads up, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, fuck you. We're not playing there anymore.
Yep.
Fuck you. We're not playing there anymore. Meanwhile, the movie theaters are like, wait, what? But you've been asking us for 6 months to promote your movie and to take up our wall space and put the images on our soda cans and stuff like that because you said you're putting the movie here and not you just out of nowhere you decided not to do it.
And I mean, movie theaters have to plan for what movies are booked when.
Yes.
And how do you run a business when your supplier just decides, nope, we know we've been telling you you're going to have this for 6 months, but now you're not going to have it anymore. How does the thing is, Disney, of all the companies, they don't care about their distributors. They don't care about theatrical exhibition anymore.
But at least Bob Chapek doesn't.
I mean, yeah, the filmmakers do, but Disney, they're like, no.
All right, what's next?
Al Renshaw says, I would love to see the movies introduce a comic Robin. It would be nice to see, and I think it could work, although they probably won't.
Here's the problem, Al. When you what is comic Robin? There's about 40 of them. I'm not talking about the individuals either. Each one of those individuals have had three or four different kind of variations and versions of them. Like, are you talking about 11-year-old, 12-year-old Robin with
Super Friends Robin?
Yeah, you're talking about
Ward, Dick Grayson Robin?
Yep. The Harley Quinn animated show Robin. Yeah, you're talking about. So when people say, I want a comic accurate Robin, well, okay, which of the 50? Like which one? So, because I think there are iterations that can work. I think there are iterations that can't. It all depends. All right, what's next?
Guillaume Lebel says, hey, John, just finished Dexter New Blood, and I'm torn. The season as a whole was very good, and Clancy Brown was fantastic in it. However, the finale was way too rushed and pretty underwhelming.
I am surprised to hear you say that, because I've been hearing from people that the finale was awesome. I've been hearing nothing but good things about the finale. I still have not started watching it. And I've got my Dexter box over there with my 1-year subscription to, what is it? Showtime. With my 1-year subscription to Showtime card that I just got to redeem so I can start watching it. But it's crazy. I've been hearing, and the numbers are like record-breaking viewership numbers for Showtime. And apparently like a lot of subscriptions jumped.
I bet they're bummed out how it ends.
Or that it ends at all. Have you seen it? Have you watched it? No. Okay.
Nope.
But they're already talking about.
But I know how it ends.
Doing another one.
Oh.
They're already talking about doing another season because the numbers were so incredibly good. So I don't know. I haven't seen it yet myself, so I can't comment on it. But we'll see. All right, what's next?
Amy Clarkson's in a 1999 super chat. Thank you. And she says, will you please wish happy birthday to my husband, Steve? It's his 45th birthday, and his only wish is a super chat message to you.
Nah, fuck Steve. What's next? No, I'm kidding. Happy birthday,
wow,
Steve!
Dude. Wow,
Happy birthday,
I clicked
Steve.
unsubscribe.
I'm kidding, unsubscribe. Happy birthday, Steve. May you have a wonderful, glorious day and a wonderful and glorious year filled with triumph and victory ahead of yourself. And a big special thank you to your wife, Amy, for sending that. And so seriously, dude, happy birthday. Happy 45th. Have a great one, man. And here's to another 45 ahead of you, dude. All right, what's next?
Happy
Thank you for that,
birthday,
Amy.
Steve. Roland says, this might be old news. Did you guys watch Sing 2? I thought it was pretty good. Comments?
No, you know what's funny? Have not watched Sing 2 yet, but a bunch of us were watching the college national championship football game last night, and a trailer for Sing 2 came up, and like all of us were like, we're hearing this is pretty good.
It's good.
And I just like that Bono is the old rock star lion in it. So I'm like, you know what? Have you seen it, Rob? Or like,
no, but the first time I saw a trailer, I saw it theatrically in front of West Side Story.
Oh wow!
And I was like, this looks pretty good. And someone told me, I don't know if this is true. You know, I'm a huge Prince fanatic.
Yes.
That it opens with "Let's Go Crazy."
Oh,
And
I
I'm
didn't
like,
know that.
Oh, I want to see that. So
See, my first footage of it was at CinemaCon this year, and they played the entire sequence of the lion, the old rock star lion. Okay, first it starts with the little girl porcupine on stage in front of all those people, and she starts singing a cappella, "Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For," which is like one of the greatest songs of all time. So she's singing "Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For," and out on the stage, then comes walking, you hear a guitar starts playing, and out on the stage comes the old rock star lion's voice, and then they start singing this U2 song, and I'm sitting there getting emotional. And I'm like, okay, because I'm not a huge fan of the first Sing. I thought it was okay. But I had no plans on watching Sing 2. But then when that happened, I'm like, all right, I got to see this movie. I haven't watched it yet, but I still have to see this movie. All right, what's next?
Luke1234 says, can we submit Armie Hammer jokes?
Maybe too soon.
it depends how hard hitting they are.
Oh, how hard.
Only if you nail them.
Only if they're delicious.
Okay.
All right. What's next?
Oh boy.
Back to you, Kim.
Derp Derpins says, all your life, the world's been trying to make you less of a man. Light beer, veggie burgers, automatic transmissions. Might as well let another dude bleep your chick. Johnny Lawrence.
I'm guessing that's from
It's
that
Cobra Kai.
yeah, Cobra Kai.
Oh.
I'm guessing that's from Cobra Kai.
How'd I miss
I don't
that?
watch Cobra Kai, so I don't know. My wife, I'm sure I could recite that. I would say that to my wife. She would totally know what we're talking about. All right. Thank you for sending that in. That's a good line, though. That does sound like something Johnny Lawrence would say. All right, guys. That wraps up all the live comments and questions get sent in. We're going to transition now over to take the ones you guys have sent in via the tip questions for the next half hour that we have remaining on the show. But before we do, we're going to take just a short break here. We're going to stretch our legs, refill our drinks, give you a chance to talk amongst yourselves, run, use the bathroom. But don't go anywhere, guys. We are going to be right back. All right, everybody, and we are back. Thank you so much for your patience and indulgence. I'm still eating my granola bar, so, you know, deal with it. But we're now going to move over and start taking the questions you got sent in via the tip link. Once again, if you're watching this show anytime and you want to send in a question to be read on the show or an upcoming companion video, once again, just go down into the description of this video, click on the tip link, or enter it in manually at www.streamelements.com/movieblogtv/tip. You'll be getting your comment or question on the show if we deem it appropriate for our show. And of course, you'll be supporting our channel at the same time. And all of us here involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. All right, Kim, let's get over to it. What do we got up here first?
Okay, this is coming from Ghost89. Hi, John. Love your show. I've been watching since your days at AMC.
Oh, thank you.
And this is just the second time I've sent in a comment. Anyway, on your last mailbag, someone asked if you had seen American Underdog, and you said you had no interest in faith-based films. As a Christian, I've watched a fair number of them, and I completely understand where you're coming from. Most of the time, the primary goal of faith-based films seems to be to preach, and good storytelling comes in a somewhat distant second. That said, I want to challenge you to watch something anyway. I'm not sure if you have heard of The Chosen, but it's a series about the life of Jesus focusing on the story of his disciples. It has become the top crowdfunded media project in history. And it's excellent. It's like
having raised over 20 million.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Having raised over 20 million, and it's excellent. It's like no other faith-based media I've ever seen. It is high quality, from the storytelling to the acting to the way it's filmed. I dare you to watch it and tell me it's the same total crap. Let's see here. You've seen so many other times. I hope you take me up on the challenge. You won't regret it. And watching is free. Oh, you can watch the pilot if you want, but the show really begins in earnest with season 1, episode 1. And then he leaves the link there.
Thank you for sending that in, Ghost. Look, I'm going to be my film loving brother. I'm going to be completely transparent and honest with you. If I had a nickel for every time somebody wrote into me, John, we know you don't like this, but try this one thing of this. You'll love this one. And then, I give it a shot. It's like, no, it's still that. And no, it's not for me. Look, again, my background with this stuff is this. It was when I was in Bible college and seminary that me and all my friends in Bible college and seminary developed a real distaste for faith-based movies. It's like, the faith is great.
What about like Exorcist?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't call that a faith-based movie, but
Steeped in Catholicism, John.
it's true. It does not make it a faith-based movie. So we're all like, hey, the faith is great. Faith-based movies
That
are
movie's
garbage.
about great faith, Father Karras.
I mean, a version of it at any rate. But they don't work for me. They never have. And they never will. They never have, and they never will. And that doesn't mean I don't think other people should enjoy them. There's definitely a huge market out there for faith-based films, and I'm glad that market is being served more and more every year. Lionsgate is kind of leading the way on that and doing a lot of good stuff there. But they're not for me. And they won't be, no matter how many examples. But you'll like this one. No, I won't. So there's so much stuff that I want to watch that I don't have time for. I'm certainly not going to bump that more so I can watch something I'm not interested in watching. So again, not me casting any shade on it. I'm just saying it ain't for me. That's all. And I have to leave it that. But listen, Ghost, listen, but there's probably going to be a lot of people now that are going to go check it out because of the way you just explained it. And that's a good thing. It just probably won't be me. That's all. All right. What's next?
Spencer S. says, hi, John. Just finished the final episode of Dexter, New Blood, and it was amazing. Dexter is my second favorite show of all time after Breaking Bad, mainly due to how Dexter ended. New Blood was a great way to tell the next chapter of Dexter and helped fix a widely accepted bad ending to the show and find a way to tell a new story in the Dexter saga. This season felt like season 1 and 2 of Dexter. I could not have asked for a better story from Dexter New Blood, and I can't wait for you to see it as well.
Yeah, again, showing example. I was kind of surprised because I've been hearing a lot of that. I've been hearing a lot of that This season of Dexter was great. It was breaking all kinds of Showtime viewership records, new subscriptions to Showtime, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people said they liked it. But clearly, like anything else on a screen, it's not going to be for everybody. But I'm really excited to hear your response to that, Spencer. And Ann and I probably this week are going to start watching it because both Ann and I are big fans of Dexter. And we're probably going to start watching it this week. So thanks for giving me your input on that, man. All right, what's next?
Wes Maurer says, "Hey, John and team. Just wanted to say how happy I am Rob is back.
Nah.
Just wondering what your thought is of the 1997 movie The Edge with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin. Used to love this movie when I was younger and saw it was on Disney Plus, so had to do a rewatch."
One word, awesome.
That movie rules.
freaking
That
good.
movie is so freaking good. Not only is it Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin, but I forget the name of the actor. He was in Oz. On
Oh yeah.
he was the guy in the wheelchair in Oz, and he was
Yeah.
also in Leonardo DiCaprio's Romeo and Juliet. And he was also in Sons of Anarchy. He played one of the villains in one or two of the seasons of something, and I can't remember the actor's name. Any of you guys in the live chat who know the guy's name?
It's just sad that accidental discharge killed the bear. I mean, Alec Baldwin, terrible.
Harold Perrineau? Perrineau?
Yeah, that
Harold
sounds right. Harold
Perrineau?
Perrineau. That's right.
Whatever. The guy's great. I've never known his name, and the guy's great. And The Edge, I mean, it's such a simple premise. Like before,
He was in Matrix as well.
I was just going to say
that's
that.
right. I totally forgot about that.
Great minds.
But before Leonardo DiCaprio was fighting that bear and winning his Academy Award, there was The Edge.
Yeah.
Basic idea. A rich older guy who has a hot younger wife
Played by Elle McPherson.
Yeah.
Hello.
who he suspects is having an affair with Alec Baldwin.
Photographer, by the way.
Photographer.
The photographer.
Alec Baldwin, Anthony Hopkins' character, and this guy's character get in a plane to go to some remote place. The plane goes down the middle of the woods, and the three of them got to survive while there's this personal conflict going on, and they start being tracked by a bear. It's a simple concept,
Good movie.
and you are riveted the entire time. Rob, what stands out to you about that movie?
Well, it just the tension. It was great, and it's a great, like you said, simple premise, really well executed.
Very well done. All right. I'm still eating my granola bar. All right. What's next?
Wes Maurer says, "Hello again, everyone. Just curious, do you think with what we know now, there could be more to the Sam Raimi Spider-Man graffiti on the wall in the Morbius trailer?"
I don't know what you mean by Sam Raimi Spider-Man. There's a lot of interpretation. Some is from the video game. Some people think that's from whatever. I don't know. Well, look, with Morbius even referencing Venom in the last trailer. Who are you? I'm Venom. Just kidding. Dr. Morbius here at your service. I love that line, by the way. I mean, look, I think there's a lot of things that could be wild and possible. And I think Doctor Strange 2 is going to be just an absolute batshit crazy movie. I really do. And I can't wait to see where they're going to go with it. All right, what's next?
It's All Wanda says, "Hi. Have we been watching an MCU where Wanda already said no more mutants sometime in the future? Maybe it purged them from the world, explaining their absence. If this was to be undone somehow, they could all return with their rich history intact." Woo.
I can tell you right
That's
now,
kind of an interesting idea.
that is the best idea I've heard so far. I think that is the best idea I've heard so far. Because I have been on record saying that I have not liked any theory I've heard. There are some I like more than others, but I have not come up with any theory that I like, and I haven't heard any theory that I really like. Theories about how they come into existence, which undermines the rich history of what the mutants are supposed to be. The idea that they're still here, I think carries some narrative issues and narrative problems about how you explain a lot of that kind of stuff. The notion that we find out that the classic line, "no more mutants," is something that Wanda says in the future and is an event that gets corrected, reinstating the mutants who were always there but weren't I got to tell you, I don't know that this is what they're going to do. I wouldn't
It's an
even
interesting idea, though.
I wouldn't put a lot of stock in it that they're going to do that. I got to tell you, Rob, I love the theory, though. It works on a lot of levels.
I think it works. I like this idea. It's the most interesting thing I've heard. I just don't like, that the mutants do have their own, within their own community, have a rich, all the way back to ancient Egypt with Apocalypse and Kang, and there's so much part of the Marvel universe, comic universe,
right,
that is part of history that I don't.
But we get all that.
I know.
If they do that, we get all that.
If they just pop back up, I don't know.
Think about this.
I think, by the way, they're writing themselves into a corner. Yeah, as every year goes by and there aren't any mutants, and maybe they'll never introduce the mutants.
Well, I mean, he's already said they are going to bring them in at some point. But just look at the story we were just talking about earlier. With that mural of Batman, it just means that what is history has now been changed. And now there is a history in Gotham of that Michael Keaton Batman who had a Robin and all this kind of stuff. They could theoretically say that at some point in the future, Wanda gets stopped from uttering something that she said. And all of a sudden, all that history, going back to the ancient Egyptians and Saba Noor, like now all of a sudden, all of that history is there, and you don't have to explain why it was never heard of before because it had been erased.
But then it would also fundamentally change the history of the Marvel universe that we've seen.
Yes.
And that, I don't know.
Which listen, at some point, I know people don't like it when I say this, but at some point, some kind of reset, big in scale or small in scale, has to happen because the MCU, and I know everybody gets mad when I say it, boo-hoo, the MCU is starting to get a little convoluted. And we're starting to see some contradictions in there and stuff. It's just getting really overcrowded. At some point, you got to do something like that.
Well, they did reset Spider-Man. I mean, that's
a great example. Yes.
Spider-Man they've reset Spider-Man in the MCU based on this multiverse incursion, which is interesting. They could do it on a grander scale.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Now, again, I'm not saying this is what they're going to do. I doubt that's what they're going to do. But I love what you just said too. I think that could theoretically work. So it's all Wanda. I'm just saying, I love your theory. I think it's better than any theory I've ever come up with. All right, anyway, what's next?
Okay, Jordan Marshall says, hey, John, I know you're probably not a big fan of golf. You're not a big golf guy compared to most other sports, although I think we can agree that Tiger Woods, the current GOAT of the sport, is, I'm guessing. So what are your thoughts about his son, Charlie, and how well he plays? Thanks.
It's funny when you go back and watch the old video. I think it was on Johnny Carson. I think Tiger Woods had little, like Papa Woods and little Tiger Woods was like, I think they were on Johnny Carson once even. It's like, you could tell, oh God, this kid is a mutant. This kid has a golf superpower. And he went on to become arguably the most dominant golfer. You know, like he was just winning tournaments. He was like destroying the field. And now we see this freaking offspring of his. For those of you who don't follow any of this, he just did like a father-son tournament too. This little offspring of his, the genetic seed of Tiger Woods. And like this kid is better than I will ever be in my life. This child is better at golf than you will ever be in your lifetime. And just the way he even moves like his dad. And he's like swinging the club and like lofting these balls onto the green, like coming within 15 feet of the hole. You're like, this kid is going to be scary good. Like he could be the son that surpasses the father. It's nuts. Anyway, sorry. It's not golf talk here, but it's freaky. It's freaky. All right, what's next?
James LH says, hi, John. I haven't messaged much, but I wanted to say how much I enjoy your show since I joined Patreon in 2018.
Oh, thank you, James.
Always amazed how you keep evolving. You've introduced some great people. Whenever your lovely wife, Anne, is on, it's always fun.
It is.
You've got a great team. Kim, Ray, Aaron, my physical media guru, Rob. I also watched Rob and Greg Alba for the first time being on the John Campea Show. Wow. I noticed both drink Zevia. Is that your doing, John? Zevia, yes. Sponsor him. I can't find Zevia in the UK. John can promote it to his many UK viewers.
Well, Rob can affirm that I'm the one who introduced him to it.
100%.
And I believe Greg has told me that I was the one who introduced him to Zevia as well. See, I am the best marketing machine Zevia has. And of all the wonderful sponsors we've had on the show, Stamps.com, Manscaped, our good friends at HelloFresh.
But see, I didn't even know, John. You sent me down. There is a Zevia rabbit hole to go down. I thought it was like cola. It ain't just cola. Oh. There's two different. There's ginger root beer and creamy root beer. Two different kinds of Zevia root beer.
Oh wow.
There's their version of Dr. Pepper. There's Zevia cream soda. There's Zevia ginger ale. I mean, and you have to try them all.
And all it costs is half your paycheck.
Well, yeah, it's quite. I go to the grocery store. I look at my bill. I'm like, what's this? Is it just the Jameson? No, sir. It's the Zevia.
Yeah, listen, I order Zevia from Amazon. So you didn't come in that door, but like my front door right now, there's 3 big boxes, and it's all Zevia. I order it because I can get it for a case of 24 for $20, which is less than $1 per can, but that is still significantly more expensive than the average soda. But to me, it's worth it.
Do they do a subscription service like they do with their other?
Yeah, you can get a
things?
Subscription service. Yep, I probably should just do that.
But you only get cola, right?
I only get the cola flavor. This is the only one I get, but I have enjoyed a couple of the other ones too.
There's some good flavors, man. I'm just telling you.
All right, what's next?
The Norwegian says, "Hey, John and crew. First, I would like to apologize. Before Spider-Man No Way Home was released, I wrote in and said I didn't think it would hit 1 billion because of the pandemic.
You're making a guess, man. You don't have to apologize. It was a guess.
Boy, was I wrong. Not only did it hit the 1 billion mark, it crushed it. And I've done some math. And Spider-Man No Way Home is the most successful Spider-Man movie of all time, counting inflation. And here's something to chew on.
Yeah.
Spider-Man No Way Home's domestic box office is so strong, it has now officially outsold the domestic box office results of The Joker, Shazam, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 1984, and The Suicide Squad combined, just to take a little friendly neighborhood poke at DC. Now just wait till the Norwegian box office comes in. It will make headlines.
That's when it's really gonna cross. And actually, I'm.
And this is without China.
And this is without China, because this is where I was going with this. So hold on, it says Spider-Man No Way Home box office, because when they said China was going to be off the board, right? My first thought was, well, couple of things. 2 billion is off the board. The film. And I said, and I'm pretty sure 1.5 is probably off the board too without China. It is now it's slowing down now, but it did cross 1.53. And I thought 1.5 was no longer tangible after the China thing. Like, I mean, over 1 billion, yes, it was going to be a huge success, yes. But I didn't think 1.5 was within reach. Now, it's not going to go too much more higher, all due respect to Norway, but it's not going to go too much higher. But, I mean, that is remarkable.
You know, it's incredible.
It's a top 10 all-time grossing film in a pandemic era. It's nuts.
It can still go. I mean, I'm curious to see where it would never beat Force Awakens domestic, which is like 900.
No. I don't know that anything ever will beat the Force Awakens
I don't know
domestic.
if it will, but it's too bad that the Chinese audiences, are going to only see it now via bootlegs. But yeah, it's too bad.
We'll see. All right, what's next?
Johnny Cougar Melon Campea says, just FYI.
I was born in a small town. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
Just FYI, some of your recent comments have really offended another of your variants, Ewok John. He considers your comments to be embarrassed. Embarrassed, thank you. And he no longer intends to reach out to collab with you. He has his own show recapping and previewing bonfire stories. Sad.
You know what I always say? You can't please everybody. Can't please anybody, so don't bother trying. Honestly, one of the things, look, I will use the term loosely, but I will use the term success with my career. I think it's fair to say I've had a successful career. I mean, they're not going to write movies about it, but I think I've had a successful career. I'm still here. I honestly think one of the key things I learned early in the movie blog days was you got to learn real quick that if giving your opinion is your job, you got to accept real fast that you are not going to please everybody. and you cannot worry about, like, I know there are people who fucking shit their pants when any question about, do you prefer this movie or this movie? I say I prefer A. What disrespect you give to movie B. How dare you? You have disrespected. I'm like, it's just, you just got to understand, you got to learn. And this is through all the employees I've had too over the years, whether it was with the movie blog or at AMC or at Collider, or even now, one of the first conversations I have to have with people is, letting them know, look, you're going to see, you're on a show, we're giving you're giving your opinion on things, is what your job is. And whenever you give your opinion, there's going to be 1,000 people lining up to tell you why you're an idiot for having that opinion. And you've got to just accept that. And once I accepted that pretty early in my career, it made my life a lot happier. I mean, like, listen, I am somebody who, I have a lot of real estate out there. I live rent-free in a lot of people's heads. Like, I live absolutely rent-free in a lot of people's heads. Now, on my channel, I have a rule. I don't talk about other YouTube channels on my channel. My channel, we're here to talk about the things we love. We're here to talk about the things we love. And, sometimes that means we don't like certain things. We'll talk about that. But you go through my videos, 95% of them are about, the things, talking about the things we love, right? I'm not here to talk about other YouTube channels. That's not what I do. Oh, there are other YouTube channels that like to talk about me, though. And that's okay. And I just had to learn very, very early on that if I ever let stuff like, oh, a nasty comment was written about me, or somebody said this, or somebody said that, I'm not going to last long in this business. I'm not going to last long. I just have to go, you know what? Other people are allowed to have their opinions, just like I'm allowed to have mine. And I got to understand that if I give my opinion, there are going to be people who are like, cool, that's different from mine. And there are going to be people who are, fuck that guy, it's different than mine. He must eat baby seals. And I just had to learn very early on that is the reality of this. And if I'm going to be any good at my job, I have to let that not bother me and be okay with that and accept that is part of the deal. And yeah, so it's just been something you got to accept. And I would give that piece of advice to anybody who's thinking about doing something like this for a living, because the only other alternative is trying to say the safest thing you can every time. What's the popular movie right now? Okay, let's say we like that one. What's the unpopular movie right now? Okay, we got to say that we don't like that one. Oh, until we hear some people who did like it get mad at us. Oh, no, there are things about it that I like. No, you just got to give your opinion, engage your audience, trust your audience. And that's the thing, I trust my audience. You got to trust your audience, that your audience is the type of people that are like, yeah, we agree on that. That's awesome. And yeah, we disagree on that. That's pretty cool. We have these different opinions. You got to trust your audience like that. So that's a big piece of advice I would give to some people doing this. So tally forth.
Does that mean I can't talk about Star Trek Discovery anymore?
Oh, God, Rob, you and I have discussions you and I have had to have about Star Trek Discovery. I still remember, it wasn't that long ago. Rob hosted this amazing event that I went and attended. It was an anniversary event for Designing Hollywood.
Yeah,
it was an anniversary event for Designing Hollywood that mutual people we know run. The great Marilyn Vance, Hollywood icon. I've got an original piece of art over there waiting to be hung.
Oh, yeah.
That Marilyn Vance, who designed one of my all-time most loved movies, Mystery Men, and she gave me an original concept art she did for the costume of Captain Amazing. It is one of my favorite things. I've got it right there.
She's a very accomplished painter.
Oh, look, just as an artist, she's incredible. But anyway, they've got this Hollywood, Designing Hollywood business they have, and Rob was one of the main hosts and interviewers, interviewing the heaviest of heavyweights in the world of Hollywood costume design. And Rob, you did such a good job that night, man. Like, seriously, I was watching you interviewing these people, and I was honestly amazed at how good you were at that. Like, it was absolutely amazing.
Thank you very much.
But
I appreciate that. Yeah, here it comes.
But what happened was earlier in the evening, right when I showed up, Rob got there before me, while the pre mingling party was going on before the event started. I got there. Well, the first thing Rob said to me, you know, that Star Trek's Twitter blocked me. And I remember I looked at him. I looked at Rob. I'm like,
me.
Pre-blocked him. I looked at Rob. I go, no, no.
There is a Twitter feed, Star Trek on Paramount Plus. I actually went to follow it, and it said I was blocked.
Automatically.
I was already
So
blocked. They already blocked me already.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of disconcerting considering I'm a Paramount Plus subscriber.
Oh, yeah.
So I wonder why they
I think
possibly
they'd rather
would have
block
done
you
that.
than you not subscribe to their thing anymore.
So
All right.
much for infinite diversity and infinite combinations.
All right. What's next?
Banjo Kazooie says, following up my comment on Godzilla v. Kong, the novelization also explains why Rodan and the other Titans were doing. They are not dead, in case you wondered it. Also explains Ghidorah's ghost is possessing Mechagodzilla in the final battle, which is awesome and creepy.
No, that was awful. That was awful. Listen, I am a thumbs up person on Godzilla versus Kong. I really enjoy Godzilla, but let us not make any pretense about it. The whole way they explained what Mechagodzilla was doing there and how the whole thing worked was just really dumb. Now, fortunately, the awesome stuff to me outweighed the dumb, but the dumb was there. And Rob, I can't remember. Like, I remember you and I had different opinions about King of the Monsters.
Yeah, I loved it.
I did not enjoy it. You loved it. What did you think of? I can't remember what you thought about Godzilla versus Kong.
There was a lot of dumb in it.
There's a lot of dumb.
I mean, they pushed the limits. And it's hard because, look, as a lifelong kaiju fan, I understand. But when you have both the center of the earth and apparently you have a rail system that goes from Florida to Hong Kong or something, I mean, there's a lot of craziness that it happens in that movie that you just are supposed to take for granted. And even when you're making giant monster movies, you've got to make some attempt to make them somewhat believable. That said, that battle at sea, when they were taking
awesome.
that was awesome.
That was
when
so
Godzilla
great.
first shows up, I love that.
You know what part I really like about the Godzilla versus Kong, and it makes me laugh every time I see it? It's like the smallest part. It's like someone's mentioning how many people are in the Tokyo or whatever, Japan or Hong Kong. And then the very next shot is Godzilla getting up from the water, and there's a bridge above him. He could have waited until he passed the bridge, but he went up and just destroyed the bridge with all these cars on it.
That's what he does,
makes me
man.
laugh every time. I was like, he's the good guy. He just killed a whole bridge of people.
You know, if La Brea was combined with Godzilla versus King Kong, I would have liked it more.
All right.
Oh, there's always next season.
What's next?
Not Kevin Feige says, totally agree with you guys about Euphoria. My friend tried to get me into the show, but had to tap out several episodes in. Makes porn look like PG material by comparison.
And hey, I ain't crap talking the adult film industry. I'm just saying they do such a good job of making it feel so visceral and so real. Rob, I remember, if you don't mind me saying,
I don't know what you're going to say.
no, it was, I remember you saw Euphoria before me.
Yeah.
And I remember after you watched it, you said, now that I have teenage girls in my home,
Yeah.
it made it very difficult to watch this. And I had a difficult time watching it, and I don't have kids. And I'm like, if I was a parent, I couldn't watch 5 seconds of this. It would just freak me. That's how good of a job they do making it feel so visceral.
Especially knowing there's things that go on now.
Yeah.
I mean, there are things that youth, especially teen girls, have to deal with now that, such as
And unimaginable.
camera phones and pictures and all kinds of craziness that.
Anyway. All right, what's next?
Josh says, American Underdog was great. Expected a preachy, faith-based movie, but got a great football movie instead. They maybe mentioned God twice in passing, and Kurt Warner prays before the game at the end. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's funny. I kind of want to because I love Kurt Warner. And
I love football movies.
Yeah.
I love football movies. I love
movie.
Zachary Levi. I like Dennis Quaid. I like Anna Paquin. I mean, there's a lot there, and they gave me an Kurt Warner autographed football, Rob.
Come on,
They gave me a Kurt Warner autographed
outweighs
football.
whatever you have against watching.
Man, I just can't. I just don't
Maybe
like.
it's Rudy with Kurt Warner.
If it makes you feel good after the movie, I don't care what it's based on.
Sure,
It's good.
but you got to invest the time to watch it to tell if it makes you
Right.
feel good or not. And I
Right.
just don't want to invest the time, man. I haven't even started watching Dexter, and I want to watch Dexter. I haven't had the time for that yet. But I don't know. I might get worn down on this one. I might have to check it out. Okay.
he's submitting to it.
I might have to give in. I
They
might
got
have
him
to
in a
give
leg lock, a Kurt Warner leg lock.
All right, what's next? Let's do a couple more here.
Maurice Eifring says, "Hey, John and crew. I know your focus is on film and entertainment news, but I have a larger question about how people take in information in general. I don't question the reporting on any event, but I do question how repetition of certain types of stories distort the public's perception of how frequently certain things happen. Statistically, plane crashes are rare. Every time a crash happens, I hear about every crash which has happened anywhere in the world in the last 50 years. But for the average person, crashing in a plane is not a typical event. So is this a distorted representation of reality?"
It's an interesting question. I would say it's the opposite. The fact that, look, we don't watch news that says, today, a gentleman crossed the street at a crosswalk to buy groceries. Well, because it happens every day. We don't talk about, the mundane. We don't talk about the regular. We don't talk about things that happen all the time. A plane crashing is news because it does not happen. Because it is so rare, and the ramifications and the consequences of such such an event are dire. A car driving down the street and the battery or all four tires going flat at the same time. That never happens. There's no dire consequence. The car stopped at the side of the road. Something like a plane crash is a combination of it hardly ever happens. So when it does happen, it is something that gets a lot of attention. Plus the consequences of it happening are dire and tragic. You put those two things together, there's that. And that deserves the attention that it gets. And then at that point, I think it becomes the responsibility of the viewer to understand, hey, just because we're talking about this and because it is such a rare thing, let's look at the history. You got to be intelligent enough to discern the difference between, well, I'm seeing it a lot. That means this happens all the time. Well, that's when you as a viewer have to kick in your common sense and understand. I mean, there is also a responsibility for how it is reported. Like, you don't want to say, like, every 10 minutes a plane falls from the sky. Well, that's just factually untrue. In a world we live in today that people no longer value truth. People only value their own perceptions of what they want to be true. And there's not a value put on actual truth and facts anymore. But still, it is incumbent upon the viewer to make that distinction. I think as long as there's responsible reporting happening, then you trust the viewer to be able to interpret it. But I think that's a great example of things to bring up, Marie. Thanks for writing that in. All right. Last question of the day. What's next?
All right. The canon says, and this is 1 of 5, best versus favorite. The first thing that needs to be recognized is people are measuring best in terms of how it stacks up to classical filmmaking standards.
No, they're not. Some people might, but I know a lot of people who don't. Anyway, please continue.
Okay, you're gonna go. This is 5 parts, John.
The things that are taught in classes. However, those are also subjective, although widely accepted as viable measurement. It isn't objective. Much like standard tests in school, they aren't objectively measuring learning or intelligence. But the industry agreed these are the questions that we think are the best. So the question is, do you accept the filmmaking standards as a true measurement of achievement? If you do, then you can have a scenario in which your favorite in terms of how it impacted you isn't the same as the best, which hits the standards. To add to the complexity, we aren't all impacted by things the same. I'm a story guy and never notice the score. If a movie has plot holes, that will have a much larger impact on my enjoyment than if it had bad music. My opinion is, in 2022, where are we having a healthy interrogation of all traditions and historical facts? The filmmaking standards aren't the gospel, and there is no true way to measure objective achievement. listening since the Man of Steel review. Thank you and team for your hard work.
All right. Thanks a lot for saying that in, Cannon. It brings up a couple of interesting things because number one, you say there are certain standards. Okay. Who's to say when something hits a standard? You can say this movie had a great script. According to who? According to who? This movie hit the standard of having an interesting antagonist. Well, it had an interesting antagonist according to who? What objective measurement can you pull out that proves, like in a standardized test, you can prove if you got the math question right. That's provable. There's objective measurement for that there is no interpretation. You either got it right or you got it wrong. There's no interpretation. It is what it is. You can't do that with movies. There is no tool by which you can measure how funny a joke is, other than gauging other people's subjective reactions to it. That's it. Somebody wrote in on a companion video the other day, something really accurate. He said, look, the only thing that we can really measure is, and we can accept is that, this movie, you cannot definitively say that The Godfather is better than, what's the name of it?
Goodfellas?
Freddy Got Fingered.
Oh,
You cannot, there is no objective measurement to prove. You cannot prove The Godfather is better than Freddy Got Fingered. There's nothing you can measure it by. What we can agree on, there is an objective number that says, will more people like The Godfather than Freddy Got Fingered? That's true. More people like The Godfather than Freddy Got Fingered. A collection of subjective opinions does not equal an objective fact, but we can say definitely that more people like The Godfather than Freddy Got Fingered. But again, it comes down to, there are certain standards. Yeah, but who's to say if the movie hit that standard? Until there is a scientific, irrefutable, objective standard by which you can quantifiably measure something to remove opinion, films are not objective. They're just not. The moment you have to put an opinion or an opinion gets assessed to it, it's no longer objective truth. I can tell you this monitor is 32 inches. I can pull out the measuring stick right now, an empirical unit of measurement, and we can prove that that is either a true statement or a false statement. There's no in between. That joke was funny. Okay, but that's not objectively true because there are a lot of people who could hear that joke and not find it funny. And they're not wrong and you're not right. So it's a very ambiguous thing. But to me, this is the most beautiful thing about art. Art is an experiential form. Artists paint something to elicit something from us. And the thing that gets elicited from us when staring at a painting on the wall will be different than the experience the person standing next to us has. And that to me is not a bad thing. That is a beautiful thing. So to me, that's why I've said for over a decade that I believe the most fundamental understanding you have to have as a film fan is the subjectivity of film. Because you are not wrong for liking a movie that I don't like. And I am not wrong for not liking a movie that you do. And because if you do, then there's no point in us even having the show. What's the point? What's the point in discussing movies? Are we going to do a show? Hey, today we're talking 10 plus 7 equals 17. Discuss. What is there to discuss? That's objectively true. There's nothing to discuss. That's what it is. There's nothing interesting. There's no interpretation of that. There's no experience with that. It's an objective truth. Okay, next. 4 times 3 equals 12. Discuss. You can't. Anyway, I kind of ran on that a little bit too long. Sorry, we've gone overtime today, but we need to wrap it up. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here as a part of today's show, guys. I want to don't forget, guys. There are still more questions to come. Armando Martinez, Data Axel, Vault of the Future. Do not worry, guys. I got a companion video coming a little bit later today. We will get caught up on those remaining questions as well. But for now, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you guys so much for spending some of your time here with us today. It really honestly is an honor that you would take time out of your day to hang out with us here like this. And we are all very appreciative of that. Big special thank you to all of you guys who sent in the live comments and questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the John Campea Show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Also want to thank the All-Star A-Team, who couldn't be here today. So instead we had Kimberly Ann Curran. No, it's the best of the best. Kimberly Curran, winner again of the over-under chase. I got to get you a belt. I gotta get, you know what? I gotta get a belt that you guys pass around.
Oh,
So the
no.
current reigning winner gets to have the belt over the
that's
shoulder.
dope.
I gotta work on that. Anyway, Kim, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Instagram at wasgoodkimberly.
And right beside her is the champion, the people's champion.
The people's
To be
champion
portrayed
that
by
never
Dwayne
wins.
Johnson in an upcoming movie. Ray Ora, where do
We
you
almost
follow
had
you?
him, guys. We almost had him. Ray Ora with a 0.
And sitting over by him is Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, where can people find you? By the way, mention the Designing Hollywood thing as well.
Oh, yes. Well, of course, you can always go to wherever you listen to podcasts, hear the Designing Hollywood podcast. You can also watch it on YouTube on the Designing Hollywood podcast channel. Tomorrow, I did a lovely interview with Susan Matheson, the costume designer for Don't Look Up. And she was delightful. She tells a story about watching Soylent Green, which I was surprised about. So watch that. You can also find me on Twitter at BurnettRM. Find me on Instagram at Robert Meyer Burnett or RM Burnett. And find me on my own YouTube channel, The Burnett Work, or what is it called now? The Bro Network.
The Bro Network.
Network.
Bro Network. You guys can also follow me on Instagram and on Twitter, simply right there at John Campea. That'll do it for us for now, guys. Thanks so much for being here. My name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.